So we are we called the meeting to
Yes.
order, then we experienced technical difficulty. And now we're gonna review the agenda for additional removal or adjustment of any items.
So we're
are we-
removing 5B. It is, the funding is not compatible for what we want it for, according to Frida. So she
Okay.
asked that that be removed.
So we're gonna replace 5B with, a request for NH Munsell to have, their annual coin drop on 10/13. NH Munsell doing business as the Bristol Fire Department.
October
Anything
15th.
else?
Nope, that'll be it for that.
Alrighty. Public forum, opportunity for citizens not on the agenda to briefly share comments or concerns. Yes?
Can we speak from here or over there?
Wherever you want.
Wherever you're more
As long as we
comfortable.
can hear you,
Okay.
or the recording can hear you.
Yes.
Ron LaRose, 60 North Street. Sidewalks. You've probably never heard me speak to them before. A year ago, I replaced my left knee. I left the hospital in a wheelchair, and it was on a walker and crutches and a cane. But every day that my PT gal came around to walking around the block, I had to go back to a walker because of the humps in the sidewalk. And what I've seen in my travels with the Legion around other cities, they're beveling those. Every city has that problem. I'm not asking you to replace sidewalks. Get a concrete saw, have your crew bevel them, so you don't have an abrupt change. It would be very helpful. Another thing with the sidewalks, we can't walk side by side, two people on some parts of the sidewalks because of trees, brush, plants that people have planted. And I know, don't cut my branches, don't cut my bushes. But I think the snowplow operators would probably say the same thing. In the early part of winter, we plow sidewalks or roll up the sod. There's people in town, doesn't bother my sidewalk because I got new sidewalk and it plow the snow off from the sidewalk. But there's some old timers in town that have to, in the spring, hire somebody to come and roll the sod back in place. They can't do it. And it's a mess, your crew isn't gonna do it. But what if you broomed it? You got a circular broom that'll fit on the front of that tractor and sweep it till you get a little catch in the ground, a little frost. I see that done in the cities. You know, I didn't think that up myself. Middlebury and Heinsberg uses those. Main Street crosswalks, there's only two. Stoplight and National Bank. You see these people all the time crossing between the vehicles on Main Street. I realize you put another crosswalk down there, you're gonna lose 2 parking places. Or 4. But they're sneaking between cars, somebody's gonna get hit. I'm one of them. Because I refuse to walk the stoplight or walk down National Bank. Pine Street, I've said this many times, needs a sidewalk. You won't touch that because of your taxpayers down it. You paved it, you have not painted a white line. How about at least painting a 4-foot strip on one side or the other to identify a place for walkers and bicycles to be? And then when you do go paint that middle strip, slide it over a little bit. It's on pavement, you haven't done anything to your neighbors there. This one, I don't mean to embarrass my favorite town clerk. We've had this conversation about recording. And she just says that she has a problem with the time. And so I took a survey. Moncton, Ferrisburg, New Haven, and Middlebury. All deeds are recorded in a book within a week, no more than a week. And the one I'm after, she received it July 7th. She says, you don't have the help. Then I was told today by a town clerk, in order to record it, you gotta be a town clerk or assistant town clerk. I'm asking the select board, appoint an assistant town clerk to work with her, so this can be caught up. July 7th, there's a deed sitting in the vault that has not been put in the book. I need that to amend a wastewater permit for a client. And I'm running out of tap dancing for this guy, and he's a little fired up. So what do I keep telling him? This is an issue, and I don't mean to blame on her,
No,
she needs
we,
help.
we actually had that discussion at our last meeting in the executive session to talk about getting somebody to help us get that stuff caught up, so hopefully we're headed in that direction.
I know you're gonna talk about sidewalks later, but, those are my big things. I won't even ask you to put one in on Pine Street, because that won't happen until you have a major accident, but you could identify a strip along one side or the other for people to walk in. Last week, I was walking on the left legally, a jogger was on the right illegal, and a truck come facing me, and facing him too, was going a little brisk. And you know, with two people on that street, you would think they'll pull back on the reins just a touch. They just straddled the space between us and kept going. Now, that's another thing that draws me to sidewalk on Pine Street. Close your eyes and picture this. Young mother pushing a carriage on the wrong side of the street, smoking a cigarette and talking on her cell phone. There's an accident waiting to happen right there. Thank you for my time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Anyone online?
Looking, I don't see
No.
anybody there with a hand up, so we will move on to department head roundtable. Sharon?
So just to add on to what Ron said, I actually received a call today from the Vermont Department of, it's not libraries, it's the department that does records management for the state of Vermont. And it was about me being behind on the recordings. So they are having a meeting tomorrow morning to discuss it, because there are other people that work in other town clerk's offices that uses COTS. They're gonna see if they can find somebody to come in and help me, at least in the short term.
That's great.
So that's where that's going. So Ron must have been having ESP today. 32 West Street closed Friday. We've already deposited the check.
Can I ask you a question about your first one? How did they know you were behind?
Title company called,
Oh, okay.
because they wanna push a button. They don't wanna send somebody here to look
Right.
at. And my list online now goes through the beginning of September.
Mhm.
I'll get the rest of the ones that are here on there, so they, at least they have a, cause I
They
tried to
have an
keep the
index.
spreadsheet, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, so
but
I didn't mean to interrupt.
It wasn't a attorney's office or anything, it was a title company,
Mhm.
so 32 West Street closed, taxes are all paid. Our $40,000 tax bill from them, yay, and $2,000 of water, yay.
Was that
And
was our
interest and
biggest one?
penalties too, right?
That was our biggest
Biggest
one,
one, yeah.
yeah, that was our biggest one.
Mhm.
And tax bills, I'm probably gonna print them next Wednesday, October 1st.
No rush.
Well, no, you know,
Yes, it is a rush.
I'm trying to wait until we get another, report for homestead payments, because if I do it before September 30 and I get some there, I have
And then she
to,
has to redo them.
I have to redo them, so, I have done a few calculations for people, which is fine, because I have a spreadsheet set up for whatever they are, so. Got an email from Miranda last week. I asked her when we would see a draft audit, hopefully within 4 weeks. It's at the financial area, they've done everything they need to do. Their single audit's been done, which had to be done before they could do the final one. So hopefully in maybe another 3 weeks, we'll have a draft audit for '24. And there will be some things on there that we're gonna get dinged for, so.
Have we received the single audit?
No, not yet.
Okay, so-
Won't get it until we get the '24 audit. It'll
Okay.
come all as one package.
Okay.
And
That just seems odd that they would do one and not give it to you until you get the other one.
but it had to be done
That's-
before they did the,
Yeah.
so
I-
it works in there somehow.
Yep,
I
yep,
don't know.
I-
Since we've never had a single audit before, this is all new ground for us. The water read is going on right now, so hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have a water read out as well, so we can start getting some money for the water bills. So we're moving along. Those are my highlights.
Anything to add, Chris?
Been working on trying to reconcile out the, reserve funds account closer, so we can have an accurate number there. It's close. It's not anything to panic on. It's not like, oh God, it's that far off. So, and then doing a bunch of IT stuff the last few days, so.
Grants, Frida. You have to unmute.
Sorry, I don't really have much of an update. It's autumn, so you guys know that's a busy time of year for grants. They're typically opening or closing at this time of year. So we've got a lot of stuff on the horizon and a lot of stuff on our plates, but we're plugging away on the ones that we've got open and closing the ones that we can. So nothing really new to report. Other than you did see the deletion from tonight's agenda. I was hopeful to get 20,000 from historical preservation state money towards the Holly Hall building project, but they looked at our scope and unfortunately declined because I was hoping to carve out the windows portion, but because we're doing storm windows and flashing specifically, they would not fund that. They would only fund actual preservation of the historical windows in the building, which I don't believe is currently part of that project. So unless otherwise, we're not
There's,
going to go
I
after
mean,
those funds.
Frida, there's like a little bit in terms of fixing maybe some of the, because they're all double hung and need like new weights and things like that. But there's not
Right.
really like rehabilitation of the windows. It's mainly sort of fixing
Yeah.
them so they are operable and then using the storms to offer them better protection.
Yeah, and I thought for sure that they would go for that because I was framing it as, preserving the historical windows, but they did not approve.
Interesting. Okay, good to know.
But we tried.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Hard to believe the state wouldn't agree with us.
Right.
And we got forgiveness coming on our water line too.
Full of jokes, aren't you?
Yeah.
Full of jokes.
I'm not gonna let that one go.
No.
Thank you, Frida. Any questions for her? No. Recreation. No, Meredith?
She's at another select board site, presenting for recreational things.
Okay. Zoning, AZ.
Hi. Things are starting to kind of slow down, come fall. Doing a lot of work with the residential building energy codes. Governor Scott just released an executive order that allows the use of the 2020 residential building energy codes instead of just the 2024. So working to make sure that all projects that is required know what they need to do. There's a pretty big DRB case that finally wrapped up on Thursday. That was the result of a notice of violation that I sent out in October. So that's very exciting. Avoided a lot of
It was
litigation.
calm.
It was calm.
And it only took a year, or it only took 11 months.
Yeah, it only took 11 months, but I'm very satisfied with how that process went through. I think the end result was what was best for the town, for the applicant, and you're not going to win them all, but I think we avoided a lot of lengthy litigation. So that's some exciting news. Planning Commission signed off on applying for the municipal planning grant. Really looking forward to getting that grant and working with the Planning Commission to update the town plan in the next 2 years. No pressure. And yeah, things are turning and burning in the zoning world.
Good. Questions?
Oh, I have a question. Are you gonna go to the, Addison County Regional Planning Commission open events about zoning changes, or have you already heard about those?
I have not heard, and I might have missed the invitation, so I'll look into that
Wednesday, 2 p.m. at the library.
this Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think I actually have that in my calendar.
see you there.
Yeah, I would definitely like to hear that. Keeping up with zoning change is always fun. But yeah.
Anything else, Raisy? All right, thank you. Okay, consent agenda, reschedule October 13th select board meeting to October 6th due to Indigenous Peoples' Day. And that, we should have been able to figure that out right there, Chris. Authorize coin drop for NH Munsell on 10/13. Authorize grant application of Vermont Community Foundation for $6,700 to support the hub programming and operational costs. I'm gonna check so that I know which one I'm on. Approval of past meeting minutes, 8/25/25 and 9/8/25. Authorization of warrants and liquor and tobacco license.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. So we're rescheduling the meeting due to a holiday?
Yeah, it always falls pretty much on that holiday, and so my suggestion is to move it just the week before, and that's still 2 weeks from now, since it's the 5-week, if everyone's agreeable to that.
Any concerns there?
So October 6th at 7 p.m.
Coin drop for NH Munsell.
That's on Monday, they're doing it on that Monday, okay.
Well, we usually do, right?
No,
I don't
we
know.
always did Sunday.
I first thought it was on a Sunday.
Sorry, it's the 12th, I chose the 13th.
That's what I was surprised.
No, so you said that, I was like, wait a second, that was no one
Okay.
through.
Or
So-
commuters, right?
Okay, so 10, 12.
So 10,
Ten,
12
12, not
Okay.
12, 10,
for
13.
the coin drop for NH Munsell.
Excellent.
And the grant is hub programming, is that something we normally do?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so. And it's
Meeting
no
minutes?
match, right, Frida?
It's I didn't know if Taylor was in the room or not, but it's on behalf of Taylor. It is an upfront offer from the state. Nothing from the town is required. She'll do the reporting requirements, and it's just essentially help them run the hub programs that they do. Sometimes they're kind of the kid favorite of the state for some reason, and they just get handed money. And I think this is an example of that. So nothing really obligated from the town, just an approval for the actual application that she'll be putting in, I think, October 3rd.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Meeting minutes, Michelle, you,
Yep, I have hers, and
Changes?
I'll put those up tomorrow.
warrants, the warrant is $167,324.82. Any liquor or tobacco?
No.
And that's it. Any further discussion on those? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Regular business, local concerns meeting for West Street Sidewalk Scoping Study Project.
Well, I was kind of hoping there'd be a few more local concerns.
Other than us.
Yeah,
Do we have anyone on who's,
we have Madison
Okay.
on what's in here.
okay. Stop it. Hold on, let me just make sure. Yep, hold on one sec, Madison, I'll make you a co-host.
Ron, are you sure you don't want to be a local concern?
From
He's
your
already
office.
paid.
He always concerns now.
Okay, Madison, you're a co-host, so you could start your video, or if you're screen sharing.
Right,
There we go.
look
Hi,
at
Madison.
that. Hi, everybody. I'm Madison. Let me just share my screen. I've got a little presentation here.
Great.
All right, can all of you see that? The first slide?
Nope.
Nope.
There
Coming
you
up, perfect.
Oh, all right, great. Yeah, so I work for VHB and we're working with the town on a scoping study for a section of West Street, specifically looking at pedestrian infrastructure. We're kind of in the first stages of this process, and so this is what we call our local concerns meeting, when we bring this project to the public and hear about what your concerns are and what your ideas are. So the overall purpose is we're looking at the section between Holly Hall, which I believe is where those of you in person are right now, and the Village Creamy Stand. And we are looking to improve safety, accessibility, and connectivity for pedestrians as they're moving through that area of Bristol. And so this is just an image of that overall area. It's about 1,300 feet or about a quarter mile. On the eastern end, we're starting at the intersection of North Street and South Street, and then continuing to the Village Creamy Stand, which is of course a key destination for any Vermont town. And we have a lot of these other destinations along the way, which are pretty key as part of the existing infrastructure of the town. So now that I've covered just a little bit of the basics of what this scoping study is, I'm just gonna briefly go over what a scoping study itself actually is. So the purpose of this one is pretty straightforward. We're looking at improving pedestrian infrastructure in a specific segment of the town. And that's our first step with any scoping study, is to just establish our purpose and need. And we'll do that. Like I said, we have an initial one, and that will continue to be further sort of developed and refined with the feedback that I hear from you all tonight. Our next step is to evaluate alternatives that we can implement to address and fulfill that purpose. So I'm hoping to hear from all of you tonight after this presentation, get some feedback on where you want to see this project go, what you want to get out of it, and we'll use that to come up with some ideas of, what this sidewalk could eventually look like through this segment of West Street. And I was thrilled to hear that there are already some people in the room who are thinking about sidewalks. That was like music to my ears at the beginning of this meeting, so I hope I'll be hearing a lot more from you all. And then, so once we have those alternatives identified and developed further, we compare them. We look at things like their potential impact to natural resources, to existing infrastructure, what the potential cost could be. And we bring all of that information back to the public for a second public meeting, and we get the public's thoughts on which one they prefer, if it's alternative A or B or some combination, if they don't like any of them and they want something new. And based on that feedback from our second public meeting, we'll work with the town and our project team to select a preferred alternative to recommend to go forward with. And all of that work is then wrapped up into a scoping report, and that document can then be used to secure grant funds for the final design and eventually the construction of whatever that preferred alternative is. So that's kind of where this project is going, why we're doing it. So now I'm just going to go over a couple of the things that have come up already as areas of concern that prompted this scoping study to happen. We're looking specifically at the southern side of West Street. There are currently sidewalks all along the north side of that segment and along most of the south side, but as we'll see, there are some issues that need to be addressed to make it really functional and accessible. So one of those things is there are a lot of differences in the grade of the sidewalk. You can see we have some sections that are sort of above the pavement level of the roadway, and other areas where it's just, flat and flush with the roadway, and some places where there's really not any connection that makes it accessible. You can also see on the right here, there's not great separation between this sort of walkway area and the roadway. You sort of have this painted striping, but there's no, vertical separation like a curb, or horizontal separation like a green belt that will separate people walking from people driving. We also see some damage in the existing sidewalk. The concrete's kind of deteriorated. You've got holes. It's partly a tripping hazard, and it also leads to things like water pooling. It gets icy in the winter, and can just make the sidewalk a lot less approachable and a lot less easy to use. There are also a couple areas where we see that the sidewalk is kind of broken up by driveways and is sort of just misaligned from each end. It doesn't really flow in a super natural way that, would be the most comfortable way to walk. A couple areas like that. This on the left is one of our main areas of concern, down by the gas station on the eastern end of the road segment. There's sort of just this very wide expanse of pavement in front of the gas station where the sidewalk sort of ends on both sides, and there's not really a clear route for pedestrians to navigate through that area. And then over on the other side of the road segment, this is towards the western end near the Village Creamy Stand. There's sidewalk over on this northern side of the road and a mid-block crosswalk with signs and stripes, but it kind of just drops you off into the grass and doesn't really lead anywhere. I think you can see kind of in the background of that photo where that southern sidewalk ends. But then from the crosswalk, there's not really any great connections for pedestrians. And finally, as has been mentioned, the sidewalk is kind of narrow. It's not up to current standards, which are 5 feet, which can allow people to comfortably walk next to each other, pass each other, turn around. So in looking to improve existing sidewalk or in putting in new sidewalk, we'll be looking to meet all of those current standards. So again, here's that photo of the study area again, and some of the things that we're thinking about currently as we're, considering how to address those issues that we just went over is the parking. Of course, in any, downtown area, the street parking is really important. We want to, maintain as much of that as possible, especially accessible parking in front of these, key destinations to the east. Driveway widths is something that's come up. We saw that picture of this driveway to the gas station that's super wide. And there are a few of these paved driveways near the downtown area that are just really wide and kind of create big gaps in the existing sidewalk. Of course, we want to be mindful of the right of way, of not, impacting any of these parcels along the southern side of the roadway, minimizing, any additional impacts outside the right of way, as well as any impacts to existing obstacles. We are always trying to be careful of trees. We don't want to get rid of any street trees, and we want to be mindful of, minimizing the impact to existing infrastructure like utility poles, street lights, that kind of thing. And I haven't seen it at night, but it seems like this segment of street has pretty consistent street lighting. So I want to make sure that we're, utilizing that where it exists to create a safe path, or, if it can be improved, then doing that so that it's comfortable. So the next steps for us after this meeting, we're gonna get into the developing a couple alternatives of what this improved sidewalk could look like. We'll evaluate those, and then, like I said, we'll have a second public meeting sometime at the end of this year to discuss all of those alternatives with the public. Once that date is decided, we'll be advertising that, so keep a lookout for it because we would love to see as many people there as possible, get all the input that we can. And that is most of what I have to say. So at this point, I'd like it to just open it up to everybody at the meeting. And any, feedback that you have, the prompts that we have are, what are the challenges and what improvements do you want to see? But we're looking for, really any insights that people have, any preferences you might have, just anything you want us to keep in mind as we're getting into these alternatives.
Well, I know there's the one apartment building that people park into the building, and I don't know whose it is. I know.
The one right by the creamy stand?
No, a couple up, and they park over the sidewalks.
When they park in front of the garage?
When they park, well, not just the garage, but the next one over, the apartment building over that's got probably three or four in it, and they park, you know who I'm talking about.
In the front there.
Yeah, in the front. So I don't know how you're gonna deal with that one.
Well, if the sidewalk's there, they can't park on the sidewalk.
Well, they do.
I know they do.
I don't know that they
and
haven't.
it'll take education just like it did at Bristol Market.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what they're gonna do with the people that rent there, you know.
You have people parked on the sidewalk in front of Howden Hall also. We're not talking a bumper either, more than
On Howden Hall?
Yeah.
Howden Hall.
Because
You mean when they back in or back in?
Either way.
Either way?
Some of your own people that go in and out of that historical society.
Because there's no curb, like she was
No, there
saying.
is a curb.
Is there a curb there?
Yeah.
No, there's no curb there.
It's the size of the parking space. If you have a longer truck, it just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
We don't have a deep enough parking space. With the parking that you mentioned, Michelle, so one of the main issues along this area is that the sidewalk is not in the town's right of way. It's
That's what I was
within
gonna ask.
it's within the parcel. So
Not necessarily. There might still be some properties, but I did some looking into what was recorded for surveys, and a lot of the parcels that were identified to have possible right-of-way conflicts. Actually, one of them is a survey that you did, Ron, shows the sidewalk within the town right-of-way.
Oh, good.
So,
So is it just the other side then? That's where their parcel ends?
I don't have the full information for 3935 West Street, but I think the right-of-way conflicts might be less than anticipated. That will to be determined, right, Madison? Yeah.
Definitely something that we're gonna be looking into. Usually for the places that, already have sidewalk there, even if it looks like it's in a parcel, then there'll be some kind of easement. But that will be something to look into for, the areas that don't have sidewalk, or if we're looking at expanding it.
I mean, does it make sense to move the sidewalk closer to the road? And does that alleviate the problems of cars parking there?
I don't know.
Some use it because you can see from the satellite stuff, you see where people park and you see where people don't because there's grass there. But that is a big stretch of grass. Like if we shifted it all towards the road, so we knew it was definitely in the town's right of way. But then
But
you remove parking spaces in, but they're not official parking spaces.
Right, no, they're tenant parking spaces for the
Right.
tenant. But if you're moving it closer to the road and you're trying to get things all to line up, then you're moving everything back here closer to the road,
Right.
so.
My 2 cents, when we set up our operation at 25 West Street, I had to prove how many parking spaces I had out back.
Yeah.
And we did, and maintained it. Now, you're talking about the apartment house that's 2 over from us. They got a backyard, and I think the landlord needs to force his tenants to park in the backyard, whether it's prepped or not. Maybe he needs to prep it. You could probably put 1, maybe 2 parallel to the street. At times, I'll park parallel to the street between our lot and next one this side of us. But when you drive perpendicular to the street, unless you put an obstacle, they're gonna be on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
If you do get to constructing sidewalks, I've already made a few bucks replacing corners, is make sure, in the old days, a surveyor went to the inside edge of the sidewalk without doing a dive into the right of way of the street to find out how wide it is. And now you'll find, first in front of our place, that they're back off the sidewalk a ways. But they ought to be asking the landowners, do you know where your corner is before we start digging? Because when we come back, what happens in the past, they freeze money out of the contract for us to reset the corners. And there's no sense somebody losing money if they just ask a couple questions in the beginning.
Yeah.
Metal detector, awful handy item.
What are the thoughts through the gas station? Have you got any thoughts there as to where that sidewalk is gonna end up?
Yeah, I can share share another screen. Can you guys see this screen, or are you still looking at the presentation?
It says thank you.
Yeah, presentation.
I
Okay.
think it's the end of your presentation.
It is. Let me do have a couple ideas of that gas station, because that is going to be the tricky spot, is what we're thinking. So I believe there is sort of an existing, a bit of paved sidewalk in front of the gas station. There are a couple alignments we were looking at. One would be continuing this sidewalk from the post office, maybe coming through back here, going around the gas station, reconnecting. We could be, coming from this sidewalk that we pointed out that was level with the roadway that would need its own improvements, coming down and around. Obviously, the two pumps are pretty much right in the middle of, the natural alignment of the sidewalk, but there also is a pretty, wide area between the travel lane and where those pumps are. So, if we're trying to stay in the right of way, and, not going right along the front of that store, another option could be kind of going out into this area a little bit, adding some curbing so that it's separated from the street. I've seen in other towns, sometimes they have a painted sidewalk, that's like a dark red color so that it's just visually separated and drivers are expecting pedestrians in that area. But yeah, if people have thoughts about this, if there's, ways that people tend to walk through this area or, specific issues that we should look out for, we're definitely open to hearing about any of that stuff.
So if you went on the road side of the pumps, it would be something similar to what's in front of Maple Fields or Thad's where the sidewalk is raised, and I don't know if you're familiar with that. It would be right across the road from the creamy stand and the next
Yeah.
garage down. Would it be something similar to that?
Yeah, it could be something similar to that where there's, we need to have some curb cuts for people to get in and out, and we wouldn't want to be too close where we're blocking people from getting to the pumps, but we could have some kind of, raised curbed area. That's something that we could look at.
I'm not sure if that'll help or improve the people going in and out of there.
No, yeah.
Because they roll into there.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, I mean, they
so
pull
the
in
oth-
and just cut it, so.
the other side would be, we would have to get
Permission.
some sort of agreement with the post office and for the first one you said, the post office and Champlain Farms. And the second one would be just Champlain Farms.
Yeah.
But that's all part of it, that's all part of what you do as you work through this to see if they're amenable to it, or is that something we do after we have a plan?
Yeah, that would be later in the process. I mean, there is outreach we could do at this point. There could be certain limitations to USPS because it's federal. That's something that we would look into. I don't see either of these entities being specific, like super opposed to it, because it is, giving them a direct sidewalk. But of course, that is something that we would look into. But the actual, if there needed to be right-of-way acquisitions, that is something that would come a bit later in the process.
So I guess my question is, you wouldn't go and design a sidewalk if you went Champlain Farms and they said absolutely not. You wouldn't push forward with this design up next to their building.
That would be one of their options. We would have to make that decision. It might be one of their options of, for us to look at, but then we'd have to be the ones going and figuring out
Gotcha.
the rights of way and whether they'd be willing to. But I'm
Ultimately-
curious, from you guys, if we do it this way, how many do you think people will use that?
Just as many that use it now.
Right, I mean, I'm just, honestly, I'm thinking, the people that work for Champlain Farms go out and they smoke right outside the door.
Yes, exactly.
Most people don't wanna walk through
No.
that.
That's why.
And most people just cut straight across and watch out for the cars, or hope they watch out for the cars.
Well, the other hard part too is crossing there, just going to the post office all the time. You're walking out behind that building blind and across the parking lot. I mean, the
Yeah.
building, so that's the one downside, right along the building there.
I did see a group of older women walking from Holly Hall directly to the south of the gas pumps, and then not even really onto the sidewalk near the post office, but just through the parking lot, onto the grass, and then onto the postal service, but just right through the gas pumps, essentially.
Yeah, I
A
think
lot of people do.
I think it would be beneficial to see both designs. I mean, you have the issue with bringing it closer to Champlain Farms, that it's more on their property. I mean, definitely in their property line, versus if we do the bump out closer to the road, it's more in the town's right of way. But you're putting it closer to the road. I don't know if we have any potential of moving our center line to the north a little bit. You can see in the satellite, we're actually kind of a little uneven with our travel lanes, and so we do have room to the north of the center line to maybe move it up a little bit further, giving us a little bit more room.
Boy,
Not a lot in the
when
wintertime.
there are bigger vehicles parked in those parking spots,
Right.
you're pushed right to the yellow line.
Yeah, you really have to be careful.
And in the wintertime, it's even worse because they
The
You got
snow.
snow, yeah.
Right, but just, trying to give us more space if we're gonna push into the road, because it's either a bump into the building or it's a bump out to the road, and then you're coming back to try to meet the sidewalk at the post office if it's left in that position. Maybe that's the sidewalk, post office sidewalk is pushed more north as well, I mean, they have this sort of strange configuration with the 2 parking spaces and then a lot of no parking area. I know, I talked to the postmaster general there many years ago, so it's probably gone through 2 or 3 different people, and at that time, they were not interested, because this is when we first started talking about this, they were not interested about having parking spaces out there, but I think it would be a shame to lose those. But you also need to do protection for the utility pole. It sits right there out in the middle of nowhere, and you can see that it's been hit multiple times. So it would be nice to offer some protection with that, but it'd be also nice to keep those parking spaces.
What they do is do a curb around it.
Oh, okay, just for protection, yeah.
Yeah, they can. Now, if you go to Jen's, there's streets where it's sidewalk, utility pole, road,
Oh, interesting.
sidewalk. There's no green space between the sidewalk and
Yeah.
the road.
Right, normally, I mean,
There's a lot of places
for
like
ours, yeah, we have a lot of green space around the village area, which is kind of nice. Here would be like a different kind of approach.
I can't, personally, I would think that Champlain Farms would be amenable to something that came to their building. I
Right,
do agree with Michelle about the smoking, but as opposed to us putting something raised out in front of the pumps, that's gonna make life miserable for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me says it'll slow them down from whipping in there.
right,
Yeah, well, they'll
And they
have
have to make a specific, you're either coming out the
Yeah.
section up here and in this, or vice versa, and then you can't just pull in where
yes.
the
And
curb will be.
it makes it more similar to Maple Fields too,
Right.
where it's a very directed path, and I don't think people have problems there.
But sort of
We
here,
measure
the-
towing a trailer. Trying
The
to get a
big
trailer.
trucks in the
Right.
morning, that's where they park.
Yeah.
It's right where you're talking about
Yeah.
to unload and load.
Yeah,
Oh, the gas trucks?
Well,
Guy in the
no,
Pepsi
the-
guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Everybody that comes
Oh,
and
the
delivers
delivers.
anything
yeah,
there.
it's because it's,
Yeah.
it's totally open. But I think, at least having some sort of design, if it's actually possible to do, where we have enough space.
Unlike Maple Fields, a lot of them just park in the creamy stand
Mhm.
and tow it across.
They
the
Right.
road. Doesn't
I mean, these
go-
guys can park in front of the post office.
And some of them do, if there's
Yeah.
already one truck there, they go.
Or one car, and it goes them off.
I'd like to see part of the design on the opposite side is trying to improve the crosswalk that's right by Maple Street and West.
Oh, yeah, that creamy stand with the creamy stand one,
No, the
not that one.
the creamy stand one. The
That
last time we
tree is
spoke
really-
with the property owner, they were not interested in doing a crosswalk across there because they'd lose too many parking spaces. So when the road was redone a few years ago by the state, they allowed us to keep this crosswalk that's essentially on the corner of Maple and West, and it goes across to nothing. This scoping study provides a design for a landing for that, but I would like to see as part of this design, if possible, a landing on the other side. The reason I say that is because there's no bump out. It's because we never designed it as a crosswalk. It's essentially you step from behind a tree onto the
Yes,
crosswalk.
That's the part I thought you were talking about. It's
Yes.
really dangerous.
Yes.
People step out and you're like, ah.
Yeah, we made a decision a few years ago when they came and went through with the road to put this crosswalk here and have the bollard in the middle, but it's not ideal. So I think while we're designing a bump out, like the ramp with DWS, I'd like to just see that duplicated on the other side, so it's a little bit safer to step
So we'll
out
have
into
two
the road.
crosswalks?
No, it's
just a
No,
little
it's just
bump
the
out.
entrance to the
So
crosswalk.
instead of
Oh.
people standing directly behind the tree, there'll be a
I got it.
step
Yes.
forward, you'll be able to see them.
I
Yeah.
thought you said the other side, meaning the other
Or
side of
No.
Maple
have,
Street.
have we looked at, I mean, I know we hate to say these words, but taking those trees down, we said they're horrible to pull out in the car as well. Say nothing about pedestrians, I know we don't want to talk about cutting down trees.
No, because it's a pretty tree, Chris.
Oh, I know it's pretty, it's cute and all that, but when it comes to safety, I mean, if we're really gonna talk safety, let's be
Right.
real about it.
But I think the bump out is a good
Yeah.
solution. It's probably a lot cheaper than trying to take down that tree and get
But,
its roots
but the other
out and-
piece too is how many people actually stop? If you do that, they're gonna be coming out, I mean, I don't know.
Stopping where?
I can see Eric being opposed to a bump out there
Yeah,
as well,
plowing
because
that-
he's gonna be able to get around that corner and
Plow.
plow that.
I mean, technically, if we want it to be a proper crosswalk, it needs a bump out. It's illegal at the moment.
Right.
So if we do this
It was
project,
illegal when we put it in there.
yes, it is, as was the
But
one
it was
in front of
safety
the creamy
because
stand.
we were
Yeah,
avoiding people putting it in front of the creamy stand.
correct.
So, if that's the case, then the one we put in over the fire station's illegal as well, there's no bump out there.
There's a landing pad.
There's a landing pad,
But
a
there's not a
landing
bump
pad and a
out.
bump out are
Two
different.
different.
Well,
I
something
mean,
that,
I think there should be, there's no concrete between the existing sidewalk and the street.
Correct.
I think that should be done.
well, there
When
is
you
on
say,
this,
when you say bump out, I picture something like
But
out
National
east.
Bank of
I
America.
see.
Right, right.
I would say my bump out concept is enough to be able to be past the tree when you're stepping into the crosswalk.
So it's not a curb bump out.
I can't remember how much distance is there. It's not a lot, but something safer than what's there. How
But
about
it
I
would
say
retreat
that?
out into the existing
Road.
travel portion of the highway, correct?
Well, I can't remember.
I don't think
I don't know
so.
how much space. The tree's pretty big, like you said.
But
It's
isn't it just
takes up a lot of
little
space.
Space right there.
We'd have to see, but I mean, something to explore. Let's just say, like, just explore that with the possibility of having a ramp there that's a little bit safer than it is now. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we looked at options to have that crosswalk be on the other side of Maple Street, and maybe that's something we revisit because that would then sort of do away with the tree idea of people stepping out from behind that.
But then it puts them right into that driveway.
Right. So is that possible?
Well, we're running a sidewalk through both of those driveways with this project, or that's the concept.
Driveways,
Yeah,
right?
It's a
yeah, but
huge, yeah,
the issue becomes if somebody's sitting in that driveway and somebody wants to cross,
right.
the pedestrian supposedly has the right of way.
Yes,
It's
It's messy.
Yeah, it is messy.
Yeah,
Not everybody agrees with that, but.
yeah.
Yeah, another option that we would have at the existing location of the crosswalk that wouldn't impact the tree or, encroach on the road itself is RFBs or rectangular rapid flashing beacons. It's,
Yep.
the little lights that you attach to those warning signs of the pedestrians, and you can push a button, the lights will flash, and so drivers can see that, a pedestrian is there and is crossing. That would at least provide a little more visibility and warning to drivers, even if they can't see, because visibility is limited by the tree. That would be, one method to bring a bit more attention there.
Okay. Right.
But yeah, certainly some combination of treatments could be done there to make that safer.
I mean, I guess, are there suggestions that you have in terms, given that sidewalk really isn't like a proper legal sidewalk, are there any areas that you can identify along this stretch near the creamy stand that would be a better position for a sidewalk? Given the oddness of people's driveways and things like that.
Crosswalk.
Crosswalk, yeah, sorry, did I say that? Yeah, the crosswalk. Like, we know that the creamy stand property owners don't really want to explore a crosswalk directly in front of theirs like we used to have many years ago because they would have to lose a number of parking spaces to have the landing area. But is there any other area near this area that we're looking on screen now that would provide us with a better, safer crosswalk?
Yeah, that's definitely something that we can look into and bring to the alternatives meeting. Is we could have a couple alternatives of different locations where we could put this sidewalk. Obviously because there was previously the sidewalk here, and since it's now moved here, people are crossing here.
Yes.
There's destinations they want to get to on either side. And so we can look at, wherever we are looking at putting the new sidewalk that will go through this southern end. Or we could look at, even if that doesn't end up going in immediately, what are improvements that we can make to this crosswalk, or ultimately what are different locations. That's definitely something that we can look into and have a
Okay.
couple options.
Okay, thank you.
That makes good sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. This is fantastic to sort of
You
see
know,
this.
that was, we did that to get us out of a bind, and it worked for the time being, but it's a crosswalk to nowhere, which isn't legal either.
No, the state were allowed us to keep it, but it's safer than people just trying to cross the road.
And it's
So that-
safer than crossing in the center of the.
Yes.
Of the,
Yeah, but this is the
Two
opportunity.
parking lots.
This is where we have the ability to fix this. Yeah, I don't see. I think that what you're sharing here is great, just in terms of
we
the
can have
different
Ron tell
designs.
them that they've gotta go all the way down to the
Right.
traffic light cross and then walk down.
Yeah, but this is great. Do you have any other feedback? Public comments, Ron?
Catholic
Sidewalk?
school,
Yeah.
Catholic church.
You don't have time enough.
I'll talk to you afterwards.
I mean, there's sidewalk
I'll
here.
put my email back up so you can you can just send it to me directly.
Crosswalk at Catholic Church, and then a crosswalk at the Main Street. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this looks great. Thank you for all your work on this.
Yeah, I think I see a raised hand from Brett. Do you have a comment?
Yeah, hold on.
He was just saying, narrower roads,
I miss
reduce
it.
speeds, reduce the speeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he had more to comment, but that's what he put in the chat.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Brett. Brett, I've given you co-host if you want to chime in.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Actually, it was something else. I was just curious, when sidewalks are designed, is it, when they're originally designed, are they intentionally designed so the elevation or the grade is higher than, someone's lawn? Is that how they're designed?
It kind of depends. Not always. It usually has to do with factors like drainage. If you're adding an impervious surface, you don't want it to be, draining in a way that's going to be like all going to one spot on someone's lawn. But
I was just curious. I mean, it was actually a comment you made earlier in your presentation about water pooling, and when a sidewalk is lower than the grade of someone's lawn, that's just going to happen in the wintertime, and it happens all over town.
yeah, you usually do try to at least tilt it in a way, either to one side or the other, so that it's not pooling like that. That's something you want to avoid. That is pretty into the nitty gritty design details of it that we don't really get into. But that is at least overall a consideration is certainly drainage. And if you have like a curbed drainage system like you do through parts of this roadway, taking that into consideration, or anytime you're adding more, concrete to an area, that's definitely something that we're mindful of.
And my last comment is just, when a sidewalk is a little bit higher than someone's lawn, it also eliminates the rolling back of the sod.
Absolutely. I know when we replace sidewalks, if it's possible, we do raise them, Brett.
Yeah, I just know that like the sidewalk in front of my home it's great because it's I don't know, maybe an inch above the lawn, so it's never an issue. There's never anything that builds up on the sidewalk. It's kind of nice. Thank you.
Thanks, Brett.
Yeah, I think I'm right about time for what I had scheduled, but my email is up here, my coworker's email is up here. If people have additional thoughts, feel free to reach out. And again, we'll be having a second public meeting, so I hope I'll see a lot of you there as well.
Great. Thank you,
Awesome.
Madison.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on.
I have a comment on your sidewalks. Do you have, I'm sure you do, you looked at all your sidewalks in town, do you have a priority of which ones
Yes.
to be addressed before this one or that one?
Yes, we had an inventory done in 2022, and from that we have a list of priorities in terms of worst to best. And we've fallen behind over the last few years because of organization to be able to get onto that and actually put stuff out to bid.
Thank you.
How many total feet of sidewalk do we have? Do you remember, Ian?
I don't.
At the rate we were going, it was gonna take us 100 years to replace it. So if you know how many feet we were replacing a year, you multiply by 100, you'll know how many feet of sidewalk
I was
we
just-
had before we
I was
started
just
adding
thinking,
sidewalk.
what would it cost us to replace them all? Anything that's not new, done in the last 5 years, I mean, we have trouble getting people to bid on them
Yeah.
because it's
Correct.
not a moneymaker for them.
But
So if you were to
batch
do
them together,
a
right?
big, huge batch.
Yeah, which we could do. We just have to be organized in
Yeah.
terms of getting it out there to bid.
So where is that money hid, Greg?
No, no. I was just asking a question.
Yeah.
I was gonna do
You have a
it.
little bit in your sidewalk fund.
Yeah. The sidewalk fund does have some. So.
Yeah, but not enough to do them all.
No, definitely not. Well, when we were doing $10,000 worth a year, it was gonna take us,
Yeah, that was
the
not
amount we
enough.
were able to do, it was gonna take us 100 years to replace all the sidewalks.
Would you still be on the board then?
Probably not. All right, discussion and approval of reclassifying Harvey Road from a class 4 to a class 3. I have We get a motion and then we can have discussion.
I make a motion to reclassify Harvey Road from a class 4 to a class 3 road.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, discussion. I'll start with Joel's comments, since he's not here, he's concerned, he doesn't wanna take over a road when that's not up to standard, when there are people who've come in and we've told them that their road needs to be up to standard if we're gonna take it over. That was his comment, and
We already
he's,
taken over the road.
and,
We already own the road.
I'm giving you his
Okay, I'm just
comment.
I'm trying to
Okay,
figure out where
and
he's coming from.
the other concern is the bridge, and I explained to him that this would, that we're liable for that bridge regardless.
Right.
And this would give us the opportunity to seek money for that bridge.
Right.
And then, Eric's comments were that he's in favor of it, we're already maintaining the road to the extent that we have to.
For a class 3.
For a class 3, he would support it, given, we don't do any significant changes, and as money's available, we make the upgrades we see fit. So, now
To
the,
me, it seems like an easy decision if we're already maintaining it at that level anyway, so we already are bearing the costs. And it sounds like there isn't additional liability unless the bridge goes out. But if the bridge goes out now, we have to replace it on our own, and if we upgrade it, then we can get some extra money.
we have the potential.
Right, so I mean,
Potential, right.
it seems like a good idea to me. And then we can talk to the people who live on that road if they wanna do anything more than, what we already have.
Ian?
I'm supportive of it. I mean, the Fuss and O'Neill report says that it meets the minimum requirements for class 3, so I think that covers Joel's question of whether it's up to standards or not. According to Fuss and O'Neill, it is. And as I sent the detail from Mike Winslow about that, he said it's you get state aid, likelihood of grant funding, and then it serves the developed parcels in the town, and we're already doing it.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it, because I think, like Eric said, he's already maintaining it, it's already up to standard. My only concern was that, with the development back there, I think there really should have been some foresight when they decided to, do this development, to say, you need to upgrade to that point, or do something to that similar. But, that's water under the bridge now, because that's already been approved, and I
And
don't
they
know
could
if you
still
could go back.
decide if they wanted to do it, right?
There's no
There's no,
requirement for them to do
No
it.
requirement, but if they wanted to, they could approach us and talk about it.
Yeah, right. No, they're not gonna, I can tell you
no,
right
at that
now.
point, they're gonna get together and they're gonna complain and say they want this fixed.
Right, right. I mean, my only concern, and this is beyond me, this is a state thing, they authorize that school to be out there without requiring certain things for the road, which bothers me.
Yeah, right?
Well,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
yeah,
What-
that to me drives me nuts.
We'll have to figure out some sort of long, at some point, it will need to be replaced. So,
Right.
Your our risk assessment, your thoughts?
I think that there's a lot of climate stuff occurring more regularly than within the floodplain projections. So, Fusino did say that it would be a considerable risk of loss if we had a large amount of water moving through. But the price tag is significant, so we need to start planning ahead. And every year, we can start developing conversations, it might be something, with people down there, but we have to start doing something, because regardless of, at some point, it will need to be replaced.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not a class 3, then it's on the town taxpayers. If it's at least a class 3, we may get grants, or we may get FEMA funding or whatever
Right.
for it, so.
Yeah, possibly,
Well, it's always a possible with FEMA.
but we'll still need to plan for
Right.
just.
Oh, absolutely.
So Joel, I expressed your concerns, if you'd like to re-express them. We're talking about Harvey Road
Right.
and making it a class 3.
Well, like I told you the other night, Peter, I thought it was gonna be late, was you know, since I've been on the board, and you've been a lot longer than I have, Broadview Estate's been in at least twice and asked us to take that over. And we said, bring it up to our standards, and we will. LaFrance Road, it's class 4 road. And the person on the very end with 2 trailers has asked a few times, not pressed the issue much. And then this one comes up, and I'm not sure anybody really pressed the issue, with the exception when the school went in down there. And we've known about that bridge when my sister-in-law lived down there in 78, 79. That wasn't even as good as Broadview Estates, that road wasn't. But it was a class 4, and now we're, all of a sudden now, we have a road foreman that I think overreached. Didn't, should he or should he not have? We can discuss that at a later date. But, you know, widened it, improved it. When it was a class 4 road, probably shouldn't have. And now, all of a sudden, we want to make it a class 3. And
I don't know that he improved it. I think that road's been like that. I
Oh,
mean,
no.
the bridge has not been,
Oh,
the
no.
bridge has not
No.
been.
I can remember the grass grew right in. It was a 1-lane road from the bridge north.
And he did say that in the last meeting, that he had expanded it.
Yeah.
And
So,
Josh
I just-
and all that kind of
I
stuff.
don't think it's the time. We've got too many other pressing issues,
But
roads
there's
that
no
we.
money, there's no money to expend to get it upgraded.
No, it's very administrative.
Right,
It's public hearing,
right.
properly posted, survey, right away, 60 days. Of hearing, select board shall return, according, the survey to the report of town clerk. That's it, I mean. it's
Yeah, I
just-
mean, we
it's
don't
all
have to do
administrative.
anything to the road.
No,
No.
We don't have to
we're
do
already
anything to the road.
maintaining.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, and
already-
in terms of,
We were maintaining it when we shouldn't have. That's what I'm
Yeah, but
saying.
it's already done.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have been. We used to only go just past the driveway, it was just past the bridge.
Correct.
And turn around right there on the left.
But like I said, I mean.
And
that's
now we're going
everything.
all the way up to the top of the hill because some more houses were built. Should have picked the blade up and turned around.
No, but that's water under this bridge.
I was gonna say that, I didn't want that on there.
so to speak to your, in terms of, it's,
She's not afraid of it.
according to the Fuss and O'Neill report, it meets the minimum standards for class 3. So it's not like it's below those standards that we have to do any work to allow it to become a class 3.
We just have to follow the statutory requirements to
Correct.
Let me,
change it from
let
3
me
to
play,
4.
let me throw a hypothetical question at the board. LaFrance Road residents walk in next week, or next meeting. You make ours a class 3 road with no bridge involved. What are we gonna tell them?
Is it,
We
is it
don't.
already
We
being
have to-
It's
maintained?
class 4 right now.
We
Yeah,
don't
we-
maintain it.
We don't maintain it. So
There's
I-
something I've been trying to get across. I mean,
Yeah.
class 4 road, that's a class 4 road and we maintain it. Where's our,
Well, we have others that we've been trying to get rid of that we
Mhm.
haven't. We've been trying for years. We have Gardner Lane, we have Drake Smith Road, we have the road into Huey Dumas's,
That's an easement, not a road.
It's-
Dumas is right, that's the one by the bridge.
Okay.
We
with
just-
Twin
that's
Bridge,
just an
upper
easement.
Twin
Yeah,
Bridge?
it's just,
But we
it's,
need to just stop doing what we're doing.
What does that have to do with this?
Huh?
It's the-
whataboutism doesn't change the
Right.
reality of
Right.
this scenario.
correct.
So the difference between those other roads is there's not a school on the other side of that bridge. So, I mean,
and
regardless of
done
any of
already
that,
done the
Yeah.
work.
water's gonna continue to happen at large volumes, and they're for the worst. If we don't classify it to 30, there's zero chance when that bridge.
So if the bridge goes out and we leave it a class 4 road, the bridge goes out.
There's zero chance that we get any assistance.
Yeah, we pay for it all ourselves. At least now, if you move it to a class 3, you have the ability to potentially get FEMA funding if it's a natural disaster or other kind of aid. So, and I think the school, yes, I think you're right. I think it was maintained in a way that perhaps it shouldn't have been. I think other roads are the same way, but I think each one is its own unique discussion, as we're having this one tonight. So I think we just need to make a discussion on this. I think we have all the information in front of us to make that decision.
And I agree with you, Joel, if this road hadn't been being maintained at that level and we had to pay for it to be maintained at that level,
Yeah, that
I'd
would
be
be a
making a
different-
different decision.
Yeah, me too.
But because we've already invested that money, we know the bridge is gonna go at some
When
point,
you
it's just
say-
a question
And
of
you
when.
say invested some money, we widened it a little bit, yeah,
And
some
did
gravel, but we
ditching
didn't,
and- right.
we haven't done,
We-
But it's
we've
we
maintained.
haven't done what we got a road closed going to Briggs Hill, and we got it closed
No,
and we
but I
don't
mean,
know.
it's maintained at the level of a class 3 already. We know that the bridge will go out, it's a question of when. This way, at least it sets us up for getting some extra help with that. So it's very little cost for potentially some gain.
You can make an argument too that not maintaining that road is gonna have weird weathering, and it may expedite certain things and make that situation worse down there for us, so.
Kind of like LaFrance Road,
Awesome.
class 4.
You've
heard me.
I am only in favor of taking it over, provided we take it over, or change the classification as is, and don't go with either of the two recommendations to widen and
Expand the bridge.
expand the bridge.
Yes.
Which I think is reasonable, given the road meets the classification, should we change it?
Okay.
Great.
Anything else? If not, we'll vote. Everybody ready? All those in favor of reclassifying Harvey Road signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Day.
Motion carried.
And Greg, you'll start the process or figure out who we should get to do that process.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Bristol West Water Line projected project grid status update.
This is Steve. He's
And
online.
he's smiling. I hope that's a good thing.
Of course I'm smiling. It's Monday. Can I, can we view my screen here somehow?
Yes, you can do screen sharing. You should be able to.
I don't remember how to do that. Oh, there we go. Share.
Don't share all your secrets.
I've done that before when I'm teaching a class and I put up their grade sheet. I'm like, don't look.
As long as he doesn't put up what Ian got up there for us that time, we'll be all set.
That's right. That was exciting.
Why is that I got that up there? Come on now.
Promise.
Oh, no, it wasn't you, it was our IT guy, I'm sorry.
You folks see what I've got up here?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Just really quick. I just think sometimes we've got so many different projects going on. Sometimes it's nice to kind of back up just for a minute and explain to everybody which one we're talking about. So this is Bristol West, and Ian, rightly so, really wants me to start calling these phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. So this would be phase 2, as all you realize Pine Street was phase 1. So we're talking about, Taylor, Maple, Elm, Pleasant, West Pleasant, Munsell, Church, West School and Park. And I know Peeker is going to ask me about this little section of school, and yes, it includes that, but let's talk about that as a separate item. Okay.
Okay.
Let me see if I can pull up the next screen here. So I just want to give you guys a sense of where we are and what's happening, because we're getting into the mode. We're just about to start into the bid phase, right? There's some things that I have to do, some things that the town has to do, a whole bunch of things that we have to do collectively, and there's a whole bunch of things that the state has to do. Historically, the long pole in the tent has been the state every single time, and I would bet that's going to be the case again this time, but we'll see. I've got a lot of stuff into them. Here's a schedule that I put together this last week, right? I updated it again today. So really the stuff in blue on the top.
We can't see it. We can only see your map.
Yeah, hold on a minute. Let me drag this over here. Sorry.
You'll have to, there you go.
How's this? Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
I'm gonna
better.
drag it. I've got two screens on it. I apologize.
Not
So
that I
everything
can
you
read
can-
it, but I can see the color.
Everything you see up here in blue are what we call step 2 or remaining design phase items, right? When we get down here to step 3, this is construction phase items. All right. So we're just about to phase out of all of this. All of this stuff is basically done at this point and in the state's hands. I've been going back and forth with them today on 2 or 3 different things here. And we're working our way down. One of the big things that's coming up for us is this amendment. Okay. And what this, so just so everybody understands, and some people are new, right? We signed an agreement back in 2023, and we have call it a master agreement for this project, right? So that was for all of the things you can see in blue, and there was a whole lot more before, right, that are now off this list, tasks. That master agreement requires an amendment to go to the construction side of this, right? So in other words, we're gonna add a whole bunch of new items, tasks, let's say, under the scope, okay? To do that, we're gonna sign an amendment to that construction agreement. That amendment, just so you realize, has been drafted, here. Okay? I don't want Joel to have heart failure here, but I just wanted you to see what this is. We're going to talk about the numbers in a minute, what they mean. This is one of the things that I'm working through with the state right now and what all this verbiage really is. And I realize that Greg is probably going to have some input on all that. Bring it to you as a final document. What I think is important here, and I think really what we ought to spend our time on for a few minutes, is talking about the costs. I think that's.
We can't see the numbers, so Joel won't have a heart attack.
All right. So let's talk about project construction costs, okay?
Can you, Steve, can you just zoom that up at the bottom there with your, just plus it right at the bottom right, there we go. Like that a little bit bigger.
When? Is that big enough?
Keep going,
No,
keep going.
Could I make a comment here? Do
Yeah,
we
go
have a
ahead.
copier in this place and a printer? We couldn't
We
have
have
that
what?
copy even put in front of us.
Yeah, I can send it right now, actually. How's that?
We can't read it, so.
You can't see what I've got on.
We can see it now, yes.
Okay. Really, this is just a compilation of all of the different streets, right? You guys don't need to see all this. I'm just punching through the different streets so you can see we went through every single street, added up every single item that we have, right? This is where we ended up in terms of total construction costs, okay? These are our estimates of where we're going to be. A lot of this is going to depend on when we go through the bidding process, right? Going through in the wintertime is super critical for you guys to get the best prices humanly possible, right? My hope is that we can come in. This is the price without a contingency, my estimate. This is the contingency, right? A 5% contingency. My hope is that we'll come in underneath this number. But 100% of that depends on us bidding this over the winter when people are hungry, right? We're going to get into that in a sec. I'll go back to the, let me see, show you right here. Okay, so here's our schedule to do all this stuff. Really, there's a whole bunch of things that we need to do up front in order to follow EPA's guidelines, right? Because you're using EPA money. Basically, we would hopefully have the state's approval to go out to bid on December 15th. We give them a 59-day bid period. And there's a reason I wanted it due on February 12th, right? I started down here and I backed my way into February 12th. One, it gives them basically 2 months. Okay, I've got a whole list of contractors and I'm going to get a hold of. We're going to put on the state's website. There's a whole bunch of other websites we're going to advertise this on. We have talked repeatedly about doing this over 2 construction seasons because, you know, we're talking about 10,000. This is a huge project, right? 10,000 lineal feet. There is a handful of firms in the state of Vermont that could do that in a single year. And none of them are local to you, right? You're talking about a huge contractor and you're talking about the entire town being torn up at one time, which we all agreed probably was not the best approach. So we're going to do this over 2 years. How they approach this, they're going to come in to us with a plan and tell us how they want to approach this and what order they're going to do that in, right? And we're either going to approve or make some recommendations to that plan based on what they tell us. So what I really wanted you guys to get out of this is we're going to start on December 15th. We've got a bunch of items that we need to go through, pre-bid meetings, whole list of questions. I'll be getting questions every day. All the addendums that need to go back out to the contractors. I usually need about a week, right? It comes in on the 12th. I usually need about a week, but I'm trying to plan this where bids come in on a Thursday. You can see my thing over here because I realize the town clerk's office is closed on Friday. I need about a week to pull together. There's bid opening, special water commission meeting right here. I need to coordinate a whole bunch of this stuff with Greg and with the state of Vermont before we bring you the final recommendation. Okay, I'm going to probably know on February 12th, and you will too, because it's a public bid opening, what that's going to look like. And unless something horrendously is wrong with their bid, that person 99% of the time is probably going to be the apparent low bidder, right? And we're going to have a pretty good sense of that. But that officially will happen on the 23rd of February when I meet with you folks and I make a recommendation to you to approve or disapprove whoever the low bidder is, right? And at that point, you're going to make the recommendation to approve, accept the bid in all likelihood, right? And we'll move on down toward contract signing, which is early March, okay? And you can see I'm setting the stage here in terms of the calendar to be able to start construction hopefully April 15th, right? Because there's going to be at least a month in here of material approvals, and a whole bunch of other things that need to go on contractually, and including mobilization and a bunch of other things, right? So that'll give us 5 weeks anyway to get all that set up. And I don't think that's too aggressive. I think that's a reasonable amount of time to do all that. And then we get into construction, and we'll have an entirely different schedule for you when it comes to construction, right? We're gonna ask the contractor right in here, after they submit the bids, whoever the apparent low bidder is, once we tabulate all the bids and it looks like it's a legitimate bid, we're going to ask them for a schedule, right? And they're going to provide us with a construction schedule and a phasing plan. So we'll have all of that stuff. What I was really hoping to accomplish tonight is to go through, and I think it's worth spending our time on, is money. Part of the, I was telling you, we need to have an amendment to the engineering agreement, okay? That amendment, sorry, let me pull this over. That amendment is based on basically 2 years of time in the field, right? And they're big numbers, because of the amount of time this is going to take.
We can't see it. It's there, but it's there, but
Just too small.
How's this?
Yep.
That's good.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of project management time, and I can tell you what this includes, but on a weekly basis, this is basically what we're working through, right? Weekly meetings, right? We've got the agendas, the meeting minutes, the work directives, change orders, scheduling, traffic control plan reviews, weekly Davis-Bacon review and approval. What that means is they've got to meet the federal requirements for paying their employees a certain amount of money. Substantial final completion, daily problem resolution, complaints, which I don't have to tell you, we're going to have a lot of. Invoicing, review and approval, assistance with public awareness campaign. So we're going to have a big campaign that Greg and I are going to spend, and Jill, a lot of time on with, emails, FPS, websites. I hope this will be a little bit like Pine Street, where people that are interested come in and provide Greg with their email addresses, and every week we can send out updates to that whole email group and front page forum, and people certainly won't be able to say that they didn't have information about what was going on, and where all the detours are going to be and challenges that we're up against and things like that. So that's part of this. Okay. Field services. This is a resident, in this, for the most part, won't be me, but it may be for a few months. So we'll see about that. Certification. This is pretty minor. This is just at the end. I've got to send you and the state a report when we're done, essentially certifying the project was built in accordance with the permits and the design plans. Okay. And you'll have as-built as part of this too. So expenses. This is really where we end up for 2 years of field services, right? I realize it's a big number. Special services. This is another one that I want to talk about. So, I've had quite a few discussions with Jill. And this is kind of touchy, but what Jill has said to me is, Steve, what you're asking me to do. And I said, I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm just telling you this construction project is coming. She said, well, it's above and beyond what I currently do for the town as part of my operational services. I said, okay, that's a discussion maybe you guys need to have with the select board, but can you just give me a cost based on what you think occurred on Pine Street on a weekly basis, if this is a 2-year construction schedule? Just provide me what you think the level of effort will be. He said, I think it's 16 hours a week, and my contract with the town's about $80 an hour. I said, okay, let me just put an estimate in here, and it would be a time and materials estimate. I have put this out to the state and I put this out as just as a conversation piece, because it isn't something that they typically reimburse for, because they want the towns to pay their water operator, and normally they're town employees. And they say, well, that's part of your regular services. And as I've said to them, I think this is a little different circumstance in that the town subcontracts these services, and it's on a part-time basis. They don't have a full-time operator, and they have a very specific scope of services that's specific to the operation of the existing system, nothing to do with a giant capital project where they need to be there in order to, I kind of broke down some of the things here, but a lot of this has to do with marking out services, emergency repairs, operating all the valves on a daily basis. I can't tell you how many phone calls that Jill got last time by residents because they're used to calling the water department when they have a water issue. And she would respond to that, whatever that might be, whether it's dirty water, or I don't have any water, or what are you guys doing in my front yard, or, right on down the list. So this is a discussion I think that we collectively are going to have with the state about how this gets handled and whether or not this is reimbursable. And I think this is probably a discussion, you guys, we should include Jill in this discussion. And I think you folks probably as well. I'm not trying to decipher what somebody's contract is or isn't. I'm just trying to make sure I've accounted for things in here and I'm being transparent about it with you guys, right? I want everybody to be upfront and know what the numbers are and why they're there. So, questions on any of this? And by the way, these numbers are what are going to be carried. I mean, assuming you guys tell me you're okay with this stuff, these are the numbers that we're going to carry through in the engineering services agreement. All of this is on a time and materials basis, by the way. So if we don't use the time, and I was pretty conservative in how I came up with these numbers. I assumed 60 weeks at 45 hours a week, and honestly, I'm not sure we're going to use all that. Some weeks we'll be at 60 hours a week, but then we're going to get rain, and we're going to get we're going to get later in the year in the paving, and we might only be there 20 hours a week, or whatever the case may be. So I think it's pretty conservative, which I want to be conservative at this point, right? I'd rather come in and tell you that we have a number that we can achieve and not come back later and say, oh, we didn't have enough money in here, right? I don't think that's fair. So
Steve, this right here, this 390, almost 476,000.
Yep.
That's not part of that 3.1, right? That's an addition to that 3.1.
Correct. Yep. Joel, let me break it down for you, right?
No,
this stuff up top is already. Oh, you can't see it again, right? Hang on. Better?
And they said you couldn't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, you learn pretty quick.
That's the nicest thing anybody said about me today. So this stuff up top, this is all the design work. This is already done. Okay. Here's where we jump into construction. So that number, Joel, that we were talking about for construction, that includes 5% contingency, right?
Right.
The rest of this is engineering. And then here's the special services with VTOMs. Okay. Add it all up, we're at 3.922 million. Our approved bond was 3.95 million. My hope is, guys, that we and girls, that we, bid this at the right time, and people are hungry. We can bring this number down. This number right here. Sorry, this number right here down at least a couple of 100,000 below what we're estimating.
So, Steve, if somebody's going to bid, they're going to build the whole project, but it's going to be over 2 years.
Yep.
Would it behoove us to say, we'll let you buy all the material that you're going to buy in year 2, use in year 2, so we don't get the price increase the second year?
Correct. Good question. Yep, I built that into the contract about a week ago. Well, with that exact thing in mind. Sorry, I'm on the wrong spreadsheet. Right here. Yeah, stored materials. So I put about 7 of the largest items under stored materials with exactly what you just mentioned in mind, right? They're going to want to buy all this stuff up front so they don't have the risk a year down the road of the price increase. Okay. So let me go back to where
will we be, when we apply for reimbursement, will we be reimbursed for that stored material up front?
Yes. Yep,
So we won't have to carry that money until they use it.
they're gonna use it and they're probably gonna send that bill to us in their first or second pay request, right? So the
For,
first,
for 95% of the material.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah, well, it's 80% anyway, right?
Yeah.
it's gonna be a big check.
I just put the big dollar items in there. I didn't put the small stuff in there. So, it's pipe, it's valves, it's copper. Those are big numbers when you start looking at, I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah. And
We were looking at the first installment around $1 million.
Yeah, you start looking at these, you've got big numbers in there, right? Hundreds of thousands. So yeah, our first couple of pay requisitions are probably gonna be big numbers because you've got mobilization, you've got bonds, and you've got stored materials before they even start. And that's something, that Greg and I and Ian have talked about for some time is, the town needs to prepare for that, right? You're gonna have some big dollar items, and I think some discussions need to happen with DWSRF too about how quickly they're gonna be able to reimburse you, but you're gonna need some funds to be able to pay some of these bills up front.
And those streets you all mentioned, they'll be kind of coordinated with Eric to, we'll try to dig up the worst streets that are bad now, so they get paved sooner than, some of them are all right. I know like Maple, he's mentioned to me, he'd like to see that one done first, because that's pretty bad, and a couple others. But like Elm Street isn't fairly new pavement, but they're only gonna cut and patch. Not gonna be like Pine Street, grind the whole thing, because Pine Street was so bad.
Right, Elm, you're fortunate, we're gonna be in the green belt on Elm, so except for the very, very end where it meets north.
Yeah.
So I don't see a lot of pavement issues on Elm. Maple's a different story. Maple's on the west side of the road. If Eric really has those, I can call Eric, but if he really has concerns, I'm not sure he would care if it's over 2 summers. I don't know if he would care which street got done first, but I could see if it was 5 years, but
yeah, it's not gonna be much better when they cut and patch.
No,
right.
but it's not gonna be like it was in Pine Street. Where,
Right.
Yeah, that was a pretty ugly scar. Looks great now, though. So questions about that? I promise I will send all this to Greg, and if you guys have concerns or questions or things you want to talk to him about, you'll have it there. And you guys can talk through it, and I'm always available if you want to talk through any of this, but I'll be bringing back, Greg and I will be bringing back the step 3 amendment in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, I'm just working through the wording with the state. I want to make sure that they're comfortable with the verbiage. And then it's a matter of getting, the agreement is between the town and the contractor. So in other words, the step 3 agreement is between DTM and yourselves, not the state, but the state saying, hey, we're the ones that are managing the money, so you need to do it in accordance with the rules that we put forward. Okay. Peter, just to answer the question on this, because I know it's in the back of your mind still. My suggestion to Jill and to Ian has been to do this as a change order to the contract. And the reason I want to do that, you folks wanted to get this done as part of the Bristol West project. This isn't going to be an eligible piece. So I would rather do this as a change order, because if we do that up front, number one, they're going to try to prorate my time, right? And take out, this little tiny piece and say, okay, Steve, well, 5% of your time or whatever the number is going to be spent over here. It's a lot of work. I'm also concerned that they're going to try and force us to amend our permit, which I'd rather not do. That's a lot of work on my part, expense on your part. So I think we're going to call this a service rather than a main when we do it. And that's how we're going to approach it. We've got unit price numbers in the contract. So when it's bid, and I already know, obviously we bid this before, we already know more or less how many units are in each, how much 2-inch we're putting in and how much 3/4, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a simple add to the contract.
So that was,
Steve,
we decided that the town's gonna take that over and school's not gonna cost,
Well,
school's not gonna contribute, or, I don't remember us
I don't think
deciding
we
that.
didn't decide
We
that.
didn't really decide.
No, we haven't decided. We were gonna reach out to the school and see what they were willing to.
Right,
Well,
really.
Do we know what change order, what it would cost them to change order, I guess? We'll have to
So,
cross
but
that bridge.
I guess if we do go forward with this, Steve, you're saying this is not gonna be a water main to the end of that school street, whatever you wanna call it. It's gonna be a service line that you're gonna put in there?
That's what I think we should call it, right? So it doesn't trigger an amendment to our permit.
Steve, on the blue lines are the ones you're gonna replace,
Purple, yeah.
or
Purple.
purple.
Correct.
Bluish
Yep.
purple. They, going down Pleasant and West Pleasant, almost to Liberty, there's 2 sections that are gray. Is that just the street name? That's not new pipe in there, I'm seeing.
I
It's
think it's a
just-
street name.
Oh, okay, yeah, I do see it now, the street name.
I'm sorry, I guess I'm not seeing what you're.
Never mind. I
The
got-
white,
it's a
the
street,
white
the
in
white.
the white in the middle of your purple
Oh,
lines.
yeah. Sorry, that's.
I didn't know if that was a piece of new pipe. that you found.
Street name.
So one of the questions about the school street line
Okay.
was the cost. We got a cost estimate that was pretty high. You had
Yep.
spoken before in previous meetings about getting that lower. Do you have a number for that now in your head of what that might cost?
No, but Ian, before we do that change order, we're gonna know, once the bids come in,
Unit
we're gonna have a
pricing.
unit price for every foot of material that would go in there. So
Okay.
I'll be able to tell you that once the bids come in and who, once we know who the winning bidder is.
Okay.
We'll know that. And obviously, before you sign a change order, the town needs to sign the change order, right? Before you sign a change order, we're gonna know exactly what that's gonna cost, and you guys are gonna have an opportunity to say yes or no. We're either gonna pull the trigger or not.
So
Okay.
that's not a whole lot longer than what was done over on Lawson Lane. What did that end up costing?
30,000.
30,000, yeah, and our original number there was what?
70 or 80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with the unit pricing, he'll be able to get us within dollars of what it's gonna be.
Yes.
Yep.
And I think it's something where, I mean, we could approach the school and see if they're able to contribute, but also I think if it's low enough, then perhaps it just comes out of the water reserve fund to be able to take that over and
Yeah, I say make the school pay half.
Right?
okay.
We'll try.
Yeah, because they're on the hook for all of it if something totally goes.
Steve, a question I have, it's mostly just all in material and not much in labor, is, I don't know if Jill has talked with you about, the fire department did a kind of a spray in the fields and did a training back in July or August, I guess it was in August, on the
Yep.
fields. And they had 6 2.5-inch lines off 3 trucks, off two fire hydrants. And they drew a vacuum. There wasn't enough water to support. Basically, they thought they were going somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 gallons a minute for an hour or so. I wasn't there, this is what I've been told.
This was
What's
over
the
by the school.
possibility? What,
it's
when you're
over by the
engineering,
school?
on- what's, at the high school, they sprayed the fields, and we did some pump testing, and they came off the hydrant by the school sign, over there in the corner of Rocky, or Stony Hill and Airport Drive,
Yep.
and they came off the one
Yep.
by the high school, and then one by the parking lot.
Correct.
The one on the parking lot is the same one by the high school, off the same 8-inch main. The other one down by Airport Drive is off the West Street 8-inch main.
Yep.
Would improving that West Street in the blue right there, the 10-inch, help that in water supply, or that West Pleasant Street, Pleasant and West Pleasant Street line, making that a 10-inch line, would that improve the water if we needed all that water from out
Yeah, of
Not
course.
problem.
And remember, everything you see in blue right now, and by the way, there's a whole bunch more in blue on that you're not seeing in this picture, right? On the other side of North Street. All of those are unlined cast iron pipes. So I probably showed you guys some pictures of what we pulled out of Pine Street. We pulled some 8-inch out of Pine Street that you're lucky if the actual inside diameter was 5 inches when it was done. I mean, there's so much buildup on the inside of those pipes because it's unlined, right? It's even if you said, okay, West Pleasant is I think this is a 6-inch today. And we're gonna upgrade that. I believe West Pleasant's an 8. You know, it's probably, in reality, the inside diameter of that pipe's probably closer to 4 inches right now. So
Yeah.
the restrictions in this is unbelievable. So replacing all these lines is more than just, it's more, we're pretty much upsizing everything you have. But beyond that, you're really almost doubling the effective diameter of what you've got there.
All right.
So I think you're gonna have a huge, but we'll be able to tell you that with the model, Joel. The model's essentially done. I'm waiting on Jill. We just got some parts in this week, and Jill and I are gonna go out and do hydrant flow testing. And we have very specific places. We've been working with the modeler. We have very specific places we're going to test. And part of that is to figure out what the true effective diameter of some of these lines are, right? So we're going to know that, and we're going to put that in the model. And then we're going to say, okay, we're going to be able to change these out. And I'll be able to tell you, if you said, hey, Steve, can you tell me what the flow is down here at hydrant XYZ with all of these lines changed out and all the lines on east changed out? I'd be able to say, yes, here's what you're going to get for flow here. And it'll be within 5%.
Okay.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
I guess so. I just, but if there was an amendment to it and said, if, like, in phase 3, when the north and the west east side is done, if Mountain, coming from the reservoir, if the Mountain and Spring Street were done in 10-inch to feed the 10-inch all the way down West Pleasant to the school, is that going to increase the pressure in Munsell and Maple and all those places that's going north and south off that 10-inch to an 8-inch? I'm not saying do all your blue in 10-inch, but I mean, that Pleasant and West Pleasant down Spring up and Mountain from the reservoir is kind of a feeder line to besides West Street. I realize you can't, from Maple West, you can't change that. That's a brand new line.
Right.
I just wonder what it would cost, probably $500,000 to $1 million more to buy the 10-inch pipe. I don't know.
So how about this, Joel? How about if we model this with what the proposed changes are today, and then I can tell you what the flows will be out here, because you're probably going to find, if all of these changes are made, you're going to dramatically improve your flow all over
Maybe you
town.
don't need this conversation with
Some
you.
of that pipe that's in there is 6-inch. Some of it's 4-inch.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Elm Street's 4-inch.
But
We're replacing Garfield, replacing Fitch, a whole bunch of Mountain. The feeder line that comes,
is Spring Street getting done, or is that new when they did the big dig?
Spring is new. I think Alan did that back in
98 when they did the drain all the way from
Yes. Yep.
from Mountain Street School to South Street.
Yeah. I think it's new right to Mountain.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's new up North Street up to Spring and then up Spring, so that when
Right.
we do phase 3, Ian,
Yep.
we'll only be replacing from Spring to Pine.
Actually,
on North Street.
Right.
yeah, right on North Street, correct.
It's from Pine to
You're right.
It's new. Okay.
Right, but even Mountain Street, you know what I mean? If you're thinking, hey, we've got this new pipe in on Spring, how come we're not getting all this flow? Remember, we still got the restriction now, right? This is old pipe from Garfield all the way up to Fitch. So
Right.
you've got this restriction here, and you've got the other restriction coming down the mountain that ties into East Street, and on and on and on, right? So I think what you're going to find is all of these hydrants have significantly improved flow when this is done. I can understand why, if you guys are pulling 2,000 gallons a minute, I can understand why you would drain the system. It makes sense. These are huge restrictions right now.
And I guess from what I saw in Front Porch Forum, there was some complaints about dirty water in other sections of town.
Well, we get that even when they flush hydrants.
Right.
Anytime you flow a large amount of water, you're going to loosen up sediment, and people are going to have dirty water.
They create
It's
a
just
vacuum and that's
yeah.
what happened, and so it takes a minute to clear.
Well, why I mentioned it because we had the fatal fire down on West Street in January, but that was off the 12-inch main, and they flowed, they say, somewhere around 100,000 gallons that night, and we didn't hardly hear a peep from the service, because it was off a 12-inch main, you know what I mean?
And it was also in the middle of the
I
night.
was gonna say middle of the night.
By 7 o'clock, I wouldn't call it the middle of the night. Yeah, you're right.
Sorry, you guys, I think I went over my time, so
Well, dock your pay.
I'll be back, and I'll see you in about 2 weeks, I think. How's that?
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
Thank you.
If it's not 2 weeks, you're not gonna see us, cause we're here again in 2 weeks and then we're not for another 2, so.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, Mike.
All right. Water Commission. Adopt, update water rates and approve latest Bristol water use ordinance policy revision. Who is presenting what?
I guess I'll present. There you go. Can you read that?
Nope.
That screen's too far away. All right. Chris crunched the numbers. So this is for, we approved the water budget for 2026, and we haven't approved the rate. And the rate changed because we went up about 13%. And so Chris crunched the numbers. So this is essentially our total gallons that we use, 32,000, or what we bill, 32,781. Non-residential is 6 of that, and 27 is residential. This is our current amount.
32 million.
Sorry, million, thank you. I keep saying thousand and it's million. Million gallons, thank you. And this is our current standard rate for the two different residential and non-residential. So applying that here as we go along, zoom out a little bit.
So that $200 for a resident is shut the tap off. You've never used any water. You won't.
Correct.
But you've got
That's
service to your building.
That's our new billing
Yep. $50
fee.
to have it.
$50 a quarter just to be
Yes.
part of the water system.
Yeah. And that was the new easier way to understand our water billing.
And
So,
that pays our fixed cost.
Yeah, so.
essentially,
Yeah, because you got, the budget you passed was 435, I believe, and by raising the rate per 1,000 gallons, $1 from 550 to 650, it brings us up to about 443, so it gives us a little bit of a buffer, but not exceeding what the state would consider over padding the budget.
I mean, we can, yeah, we need to
Don't make
be,
it complicated.
right, we need to be close, but we also need it to be more, because we're gonna have to raise our rates every year for the significant future to be able to pay for the projects that we're doing right now. I had a question, Chris, about the Woodland. So they're on a special fixed rate for the next 3 years, I believe, or four more years.
Because I think.
At least 4.
Yeah, it's 29 that they stopped doing that.
Right.
And we didn't change how we calculated when we changed the rates. We decided to keep it the way we were doing it, so their bill's getting knocked almost in half
Right,
right now.
okay, so is that,
So
Is
they're
there a
not
reason-
getting charged the EU
Correct.
charge?
Well,
Correct.
they are on the bill, but most of it's going away because of the calculation and we're using days, which is what was set up for the old rates.
Which is what we have for
And there's
contracts.
nothing in their contract that says if we change the rates, then we'll recalculate how something is done. So when we did that, it was decided to keep the calculation, we brought it to the board. And so they get, actually, I think they're getting a bigger discount now than they were before.
Yes.
So, but if they agreed to pay $11,037,
Is that per,
That's-
is that per quarter?
Calculation. There's an average, there's a calculation, you have to include the days. It's this whole complicated
yeah,
calculation.
That was as close as I could estimate that one, and I'm not gonna lie, that one was a pain in the butt to come up with
Right.
a ballpark number.
so that
So
could be down to 9.
well, the reason I asked is because the first payment that they did under the new system was 1,855, and that was a quarter, and so dividing this by 4, it's about 2,700. So I just want to make sure that we're calculating that we're gonna get enough, we're not gonna have a shortfall because of their quite confusing calculation.
I mean,
Um,
without Woodland involved in all, you're at 431, so you're $4,000 below, and if they're bringing $1,800 a month, the math
Right.
in my head says you're well over your requirement
Right.
to meet your budget.
Okay,
We actually had a contract with them, right, Sharon? Did we actually sign
Mm-hmm.
an agreement, not a contract?
Yeah.
we do, we have that.
So
Yeah.
that $11,037 is a year?
Yeah.
So if we had rate increases, they didn't have to pay the rate
I
increases?
don't believe there's anything in the agreement.
I'd like to see the agreement, because I remember us having, that they wouldn't have to pay. Yeah, it was, had something to do with the rate increases, because they weren't, we had to get them to sign on. So the agreement was for
But I
10
thought-
years at the same
The
level.
rate that they were paying year one.
Yeah, I don't remember
thought
that
that's-
now, you know, I'd have to look at the agreement again, but I remember us having that whole discussion, you know, about
Well,
them maintaining,
they
trying to
would still
maintain it
get
for 10 years.
Still get the discount on the new rate. I don't know. I don't
Yeah, I have to
remember.
look
I
at-
guess
I
you'd
have
have
to
to look at it.
It's so what it is. It says the Bristol Select Board, in its capacity as Water Commission, at a meeting held March 5th, 2018, approved Tom Sawyer Development request for stabilization of the water rate for 10 years based on the rate at the time of connection. So that was in our agreement.
And it doesn't say anything about any fluctuation.
It does not.
Yeah, so,
So stabilization means the same,
right.
Yes.
not just that it doesn't.
Doesn't go off fluctuate, it
Yes.
means they're
So-
getting a deal for 10 years.
That's great, given the rate of inflation.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
But it's
wait,
gonna be a
but
shock
it's
when.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be culture shock when
I've
they
never
get.
seen water rates so low, though.
Yeah, well, we
Yes.
understand that, but.
I mean, I'll say, to you, read that one more time to me.
Sure.
It says,
It says, we approved the development's request for a stabilization of the water rate for 10 years based on the rate at the time of connection.
so, I'm no lawyer, but to me, it sounds like if they were paying $12,000 a year or $1,000 a month, they'll pay that for 10 years.
Yes,
Correct.
you're exactly
So
right.
they don't get the discount, they just get the $12,000, whatever.
Yeah, whatever
Which
it
ends
was.
up
There's a
being just-
calculation, and it includes days, and there's a year,
Well, and usage, right?
and usage, yeah.
Yeah, so if their usage goes up, they have to, but they pay at the rate.
What's the overall impact of this, like, size units? How much water's coming out of this area that you're referring
All these woodland
36
apartments.
apartments,
to? How many?
36 unit apartments, 6 buildings.
We have so much water loss that we're about to make up for that
Yes.
36 units is.
Are you gonna guarantee that?
It's about 1.2 million gallons. That's what they use on average. So it's
Boy,
definitely
they are
some.
gonna, I mean.
So yeah,
We're
so
paying
so
$30 a quarter for water, like.
yeah. No, I know.
If that's what they are,
Just
and-
switching into the billing units per residential is gonna, their bill's gonna jump significantly.
Well, you know, I
Yes.
guess my suggestion at this point may be to warn them,
Warn them.
saying,
Well,
you know, you have
we
4
have.
years left, and this is
Yeah.
how it's being done now, and this is what
Your water bill
your
could be.
bill
Yes.
could.
I
Well,
believe that was done.
They see
that.
what their
Yes.
bill would
Would have
be,
been.
and then I put the credit down below and
Oh,
what
good.
they actually owe, so they
Okay.
see what they're.
So it's not, it shouldn't,
And she
it
pays that,
shouldn't
they don't-
come as a surprise.
Correct.
No,
The tenants don't pay the water, she pays the
No.
water.
To extend the water,
Yeah.
in
lines
fact,
to-
apparently she's got a leak down there somewhere that she's trying to deal with.
So, for
Okay.
giving
I
us
wasn't-
access right away, then.
I wasn't,
we-
Oh, it's all
I
fine.
wasn't on the select board then, so you should really
Yeah.
ask somebody else.
But
So,
she's
yes.
paying for usage.
Yes.
It's cheap, but she is paying for that water she's losing.
Not necessarily.
Not
It's
necessarily.
metered,
Yeah, but she's only paying a flat rate.
but she's paying for a flat rate.
Plus.
Per every 1,000 gallons.
for- Yeah, and it's less than 650.
It's whatever it was at the time they got it.
Okay.
Say it was
Okay,
three,
so
say
the
it was
water
$3.
might be
If
$2,
it was 2
yeah.
cents a gallon, and 18, then she's
Right.
gonna pay 2
2
cents
cents a gallon for however
Okay.
many she uses.
All right.
Right, it's
If
not
you
like
got- if
she
she-
pays $1,000 and that's all there is, no matter how much water she uses, it goes
Okay.
by the usage.
I see what you're saying.
The rate can't change.
rate
The
can-
amount can
The amount of gallons you're gonna pump out.
Yeah. If she uses 1,000 gallon, if she uses 100,000
We're talking
gallons
about,
less,
we're talking about $12,000 the cost. That's what-
Okay, yeah,
I just did the math.
okay.
so
And this will give us that, we realized when you showed us that graph months ago, we're gonna peak out in about 5 years, when all the construction is done, they all gone home, the dust is settled, the paving's done. And we're gonna,
Well,
Top-
each
topsoil up the
each
edge of the
year-
lawn.
each year we're gonna have
We're
it
gonna
up,
step
we're gonna
up.
Yes.
up, and then it start,
So it's not such a,
right.
or maintain.
Right.
But we're gonna look to the state size more in debt, because we've raised our rates.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and we can,
will be more in debt.
Yes, we
That's-
will be.
that's-
We're gonna
that's-
spend
that's another
3.5
meeting. So yes, so,
million.
so our budget in terms of our water fees that we set was 435,510. So we're over that, and you're right. Even if that calculation is whatever, is different than that, we're still covered, which is great. And and obviously the makeup is interest and penalty, water service connection fees, the Sugarwood revenue and miscellaneous revenue sort of makes up. So our total budget is 447. So I think the amount of the raising it the dollar, I think is a good way of accommodating the new budget. But I think it's also something to let water users be aware of, is that we're going to need to raise it every year. And I think the user amount will also.
And it's $1 per 1,000 gallons, just put in perspective, like,
Yes.
my household uses between 6,000 and 8,000 gallons a quarter, so my bill's gonna go up between $6 and $8.
Yes.
We're not talking a $20 increase here, we're talking very stepped increases to
Yes.
the bills.
But we do need to run the calculations in terms of, because within 3 years, we're going to have a significantly larger amount of debt. But I think it's a conversation that we need to have and maybe figure out what the numbers in terms of how to balance out using the reserve fund that we're putting away more of to balance out the rates as we go forward. I've been doing some of that, but it's quite complicated because there's any number of directions that you could take.
You should double it.
Right.
That's what it's gonna be, it's literally.
Exactly, yes. But it's also how you get there and the amount of time.
So it's
right?
gonna be $12.
But just
a
to get to the
$12
end
a
point,
thousand.
no
Yes.
matter what you do, it has, at some point, just.
Correct. It's like 13 or 14, possibly $15.
Or we increase the,
Base rate.
Correct.
base
So base rate changes along with that, and then we balance the reserves. Yes.
It's a massage.
Right. Because I'm planning out. I presented scenarios a while back, and that was taking into consideration the forgiveness. But I never presented something where we didn't get forgiveness on anything. We hope we are, and it looks very positive. But we should also run.
First.
We should
Forgiveness
run
on
the scenario
nothing.
too, which I have, and which we'll talk about maybe at the next meeting, just
well,
to
we
see
will
what
get
that
some
looks like.
forgiveness in 4 years because we'll be charging full rate for those.
Yes, that's true.
Call me.
But I believe when Woodland got their first new bill, I think we said in their letter to be aware of that it's going to change significantly in the next. They have 4 years left, so 2029 they're going to have a very different size bill. And so we should just keep reminding them about that, because it'll be quite a lot
The
larger.
numbers that are originally on the bill are what they would be charged if they didn't have a
Right.
special rate.
right.
Right.
So, okay.
But it's just
Hopefully they pay
helpful to
attention
them.
to that.
Yes, right, and we'll
Well,
keep
they
reminding
should,
them.
because when I open a bill and the first thing I look is the unit cost.
Yes.
And then
Whatever
the
discount you have
discount is after
Right.
that. And it's
Well,
like,
hopefully they do as well.
Yeah.
So
Next piece.
hold on,
No, I need the mo.
we'll wait a
Oh,
minute.
there's more.
Why do we need a motion on that fee?
Well, on the rates.
Yeah, but if we
See you, Ron.
pass
Thanks,
the.
Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks.
If we pass the budget, aren't we really kind of saying
Well, we have to
approve
set,
the rates?
we have to set the rate.
Yes. So this is our water use ordinance Appendix B, Schedule of
Okay,
Rates.
make it bigger, please.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I can look at it on my
Yeah,
screen.
look on
but-
screen, I look on screen.
This was all in base camp.
Yeah.
So this is essentially what we had it before, it's just formatted slightly better. This is our $50 per billing unit, $100 quarterly. So essentially we get to here's our new cost. So $6.50 per 1,000 gallons. That's our new 2026 rate, the delinquency charge. And so we want to approve this with
Can
this.
you back up?
Sure.
One, back to your, yeah, right there. Quarterly, okay, they're all quarterly.
Yes.
I was wondering
I know,
what I was wondering what the $100
Yes.
confused me. I was like,
Yeah,
I
it's
thought it
quarterly.
was 2, and I thought that was the year,
Yes.
so.
So there's that. We've got the new rate. And then we've got our different charges, our connection fees for different sizes. This is all was in here before. And then,
Can you go back up to the meter?
sure.
Is greater than 1 inch meter is the same as the 1?
No, 1 inch
No.
meter.
It's 2150.
Yeah, that's the base fee.
Yeah, plus actual
plus
cost for
actual
larger
cost.
meter,
Cost
yeah.
of the- okay.
Yeah, this was all in this originally. And so these were the new ones that I highlighted, which were the new amounts that we put in.
Okay, so let me ask you on this one. That $25 that says maximum, is that per the statute?
Yes, this is all per the statute.
Is that, because somewhere you say reconnection fee says not to exceed $25, so that's why that
Correct.
says that.
Yes, we were actually out of statute
State of Vermont
with
needs to
with our
get in the
with
freaking
our
Current
appendix.
century.
Yes, I know. So that's why these are highlighted, because it's all based on the statute.
Okay, so then I wanted to ask on the surcharge for failure to provide access. Why are we doing 25, 37, 50? Why not do 50, 75, 100?
Statute.
The statute says 3750? Seriously? And we can't go beyond that?
That's halfway between. Is
Oh,
what
I know what it is, but it's
Yes.
like, give me a
Top of the map.
break.
Yes.
That's like a slap on the wrist for these people. That's nothing to me.
Yeah.
Well, to you, to me, I'd be.
Well, I know, I mean, but it's like, but if
So-
you're, if you have a rental and you've got, 10 units, that's like nothing. To me, that's like nothing to them. And they're not gonna care.
I highlighted this area here. Where'd it go?
Yes,
The
I
bulk.
think we should change this.
Okay. So what would you like to change this to?
I like Cecil's suggestion.
Okay.
I thought that was a good one too.
Which is,
So
$1,000.
So Cecil's suggestion was, he had emailed on us August 25th, and he talked about non-district users are only being charged $100 for up to 10,000 gallons and for $4 for each additional 1,000 gallons. This seems a little unfair to me because as a water district user, I'm charged $5.50 for each 1,000 gallons, now $6.50. I respectfully submit that myself and other members of the water district regularly support the water district by paying our quarterly fees. In my humble opinion, non-district users should expect to pay a premium for the use of our water. I would suggest that the non-district users pay $1,000 for up to 10,000 gallons and $100 for each additional 1,000 gallons above the 10,000. So that was just a resident's suggestion. We don't have to take that.
that's
And
$10, that's $10 a gallon?
Right.
That's
I mean,
fine.
if you have to hire somebody to come in, like there's somebody down in Rutland that will come up here, they're probably more than
Clarksville.
$1,000.
It's interesting to find out what Clark Wright's paying in other towns. I mean, you see.
There's a reason he's drawing from here.
Virgins isn't doing it right now.
Yeah, that's the main, it's a hard time finding water at the moment.
Right.
I had somebody call me on.
Well, we can
yesterday.
refuse anybody, we don't.
Oh, no, I
I
know.
had a Bristol resident who's not on the water district called me yesterday and said, does the water department sell water? I said, well, we have it metered, we don't sell it ourselves, so to speak, call it. I said, you could call Clark Wright Septic and they have a water tank that they've been doing it for a farm. I didn't mention the farm, but I just said a farm in town. And so you can call them.
There's only a couple.
But, no, it'd be, again, it'd be interesting to see what they're paying
Their wells.
other water systems. Because if we kept it comparable, because the other problem too is if we end up too high,
We won't sell any.
Chad's just gonna go to Virgins as soon as he can. I mean, so I would rather sell as much water as we humanly can.
Yep.
See the water hauler, and make it up in bulk versus the
Because-
one-offs.
Yeah,
I
so
guess
whatever
we're-
everyone else charges,
well,
we're
it
just
goes from
slightly
20
under.
Or the same.
Right.
It goes from 25 to 37.50. What is that? 2 hour notice? 5 hour notice? 2 day notice?
I don't know, the meter gets left on the hydrant over there and he comes and fills it.
No. If you come and say, I gotta get access to your meter in the basement,
Oh,
and I turn you down, is that okay, come the next day, or is there 3 days, or, it doesn't say that, how many days, or doesn't say what time?
I mean, yeah, and I don't know if like, okay, if it's the first time, like, say it's, we do a water read in June, right? Then we can't get access to it. And then they let us get access to it. Or eventually get access to it, whatever. But then the second quarter, they refuse again, and you don't have, is that then a $37.50 charge, or are you back to the $25 charge?
Well, it's more that they've taken the tab off the outside, or they've built over it, you can't access it. Most of them are not going inside, it's outside,
Covered it up somewhere.
they've covered it up, or they've taken it off because they did some work, or they built a fence around it and you can't get to it.
So, if I'm down and they say, they call me and say, we need to get your meter today, I said, we're out of state.
he's not saying
It's
meter,
not
she's saying
inside.
touchpad or,
Touch prep, yeah.
Yeah.
it's not always, this is.
I guess
this is-
anything,
Yeah,
anything.
that's basically anything.
And
I
when I
would
get
say.
back in town, so you can come do it now, is that an unscheduled meter reading for 75? No,
No, those
That's
are
a meter
mostly for
reader.
people who are doing closings.
Closings, yeah.
that seems a little steep to me,
Yeah.
the 75, that just seems a little steep to me.
It's probably an hour of their time that we have to pay for.
It costs Jill $80 an hour.
Right.
We're losing
So
money.
this is a discount.
Jill
Drive by
costs
my
us
house on
$80
Pine
an
Street, redo it and bring it back to Sharon. If you're an hour, you're stumbling, did you walk over and back?
Yeah, but if she's not in town that day,
Well,
I mean, if you got a closing tomorrow and you need to close out water read,
well, you don't get it tomorrow.
well,
Get it
I'm
next
just
time
saying,
we're in.
yeah, that's why they're charging $75.
I gotta read, I gotta do
And we still charge them $75.
Yeah.
He goes in.
I honest, given how expensive our system is going to be, and already is, I think, arguing over very small amounts of charges, I think is not worth it. I think we've done this before, and now we're in a position
Yeah,
where
right.
where everything is, we're just losing money on this, and so we
right.
need to go big to be able to cover our expenses.
Back to Cecil's thing about the $4, is that, it says an additional $4, so if we're
Correct.
paying $6.50 a gallon
No,
for
he-
1,000,
He's saying $1,000 for the first 10,000 gallons, and then he's saying $100 for each additional $1,000 above the $10,000. This is what's
This is-
currently in there.
That's what's in currently.
We're looking at talking about changing it.
$4 a thousand.
Can we look it up to see what?
That's what I'm trying.
It ought to be at least
It's not
$6.50
easy to
a
find
thousand.
Yes.
on the site.
So
well, I thought we were getting $6.50 for every 1,000 gallons we're selling it, from 65 Pine Street. Base.
Yes, this is the bulk rates. We need to change this, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
This is
So
is
they're not
wrong.
selling
Right
it
now,
for $4 a
right now,
gallon.
it'd be cheaper for you to
No.
buy it
Right
bulk
now-
for $4.
Right.
It doesn't seem to me that way, it says an additional $4.
No. It's $75 for users. Right now, it's currently $75 for current
Users.
users that are on the water district, and it's $100 for non-users for up to 10,000 gallons.
Right.
And then it's $4 for each additional $1,000 above the 10,000.
So he can
We're talking about
basically,
changing that.
if he's got a 3,000 gallon tank, he can buy 3 loads of water for $100.
Right. Right now.
That's a steal.
Right.
It is a
That's what
steal.
we're
I'm
saying.
gonna open up a water stand, right? It's a cream
No
stand.
kidding.
He's
I'm
gonna-
gonna
I'm
put
selling
a
water.
reservoir at my
Well, when you
house.
look at it that way, it's way too cheap.
yes, exactly.
His truck, I don't know how big his truck is, but he's been paying around $280
Per truckload.
for truck, yeah. He's done it 4 or 5 times.
For here? From here?
Yeah.
But he hasn't done it in a while.
Where
The
are
meter was setting out there last
Forever.
week.
Are we getting anyone from different locations? Okay, just one.
No.
Just one, yeah.
Just Clark.
So in order to change this, do we want to change this to what was suggested by the resident, or do we want to investigate, as Chris suggested, what other towns are charging?
I think we should be in line with other towns on this one.
Okay.
I mean,
so-
our user rates are less than everybody else, but
Yes.
for this here,
Okay, so are we comfortable just approving this so we have these yellow highlighted changes, which are statute-based and our new rate? We do need to approve the rate, because the water reads
It's in progress right now.
are literally happening now. And Chris would love to be able to put 650 in there instead of 550. Because if we don't, then we don't meet our budget.
yeah, I think that,
So we can leave this as is, and we can change this anytime we want when we have that research.
Okay.
Okay,
It's not online, so I think we're gonna have to call and ask.
okay. All right, so I would make a motion to approve this Appendix B, to set the new water rate.
With the exception of bulk water purchase.
no,
No, it just stays as is.
Oh, okay.
This is just
I'll second that,
highlighted
and then
saying,
we can
do
change
we
that
want
the next meeting, or
Correct,
3 meetings
yeah.
from now,
Second.
or 3 years from now.
Thank you.
further discussion?
I just.
You think we've discussed it enough?
We're disgusted, all right.
We're disgusted.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
I have a,
Motion carried.
Yes.
I'm meeting with the water guy in Middlebury tomorrow. He's got to find our meter shut off outside. I could ask him what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could
Okay.
ask. And I got one in the afternoon with James guy.
There you
Okay.
go.
So then, the other part of this is the water ordinance. I hope everyone's looked at that thoroughly and seen all the stuff that's highlighted in yellow and whether we want to approve this or not.
Yeah, basically says the same as what we discussed, right?
As long as you didn't change anything we didn't discuss changing.
Some of these changes are in here because, again, it's the statute.
Yeah.
That's why they're highlighted. But this gives everyone, I've given everyone hopefully plenty of opportunity to sort of look through. All of this it looks different because I've formatted it differently, but it's all the same. This was our seasonal maintenance requirements, detailing about that we previously talked about. Snow and ice, vegetation, things like that.
Right, put that back here, please.
Yeah, you gotta make it a little bit.
Hold on, Joel, you're pulling the whole computer off.
See if I can make-
The cord's caught in the chairs.
Oops, sorry.
And there goes the meeting.
I can't see.
Oh, sorry.
We just need to get a bigger television.
Put the,
TV's
or put the table back where it
Right.
was.
you see that budget?
We had to make it bigger there too. So.
There we go.
Number one, I would just like to put after months, comma, in a timely manner. Doesn't say when they have to do that. Could do it in a week, could do it in a month.
Well, what's a timely manner?
I mean, it's saying during the winter months.
I'm just
I
asking.
think that's
Yeah.
enough.
Anything you put in there, then you will have to enforce, so like, if you say, I don't know, 24 hours,
I think that's, yeah.
you have to go out and do it. When I lived in Boulder.
I think if the
If it
fire department or the
snowed-
fire chief says, you know, that, those hydrants have been shoveled out in a week and a
Right,
half.
when I lived in
10 days,
Boulder,
that's a little
if you
excessive.
didn't clear the snow from the walk in front of your house within a certain number of hours, you got a fine. But that's why we called it the People's Republic of Boulder. So I don't know how strict you want this stuff to be.
Supposed to say $80 an hour for Jill.
Yes.
Or maybe if.
No,
Well,
they're
that's
the
part of
They're
the
the ones that are
contract.
supposed to,
That's
contract
part of
to
the
do it.
fixed contract.
And that's why I said if we put it in there,
Yep.
So these are just all the highlighted yellows. So hopefully everyone's read all these. And I think the next stage for this would just be to run it through the town attorney for double checking before.
So you want to prove it now, or you? or
Well, we can approve it, we
yes.
can approve it pending the
Yes.
attorney's
Yes.
review.
I think that's the cleanest way to do it,
Yeah.
because I think we've spent so much time on this that I think after, the attorney should have the final say.
Yeah, just to make sure there's.
I mean, we've all been batting around 13.8B, payment agreement. Well, been told, oh, you can't turn the apartment off. We've heard you can,
You can't what?
turn apartments off, you can. So,
That's all in here.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of it is that we're obviously not doing that. There's a lot of steps before that.
Right.
You have to offer the payment plan, just like you
Yes.
do with taxes and state.
And if it's
programs.
something
Good
where
idea.
it's the owner of the apartment isn't paying, you have to offer it to the people, the tenants in the apartment,
Right.
and it's all protections for them, so,
Well, the tenant can offer to pay it and then reduce their
Correct.
taxes,
yes,
or reduce their rental payments.
yeah. So, yeah, so some of this is what we talked about before, some of it was new, I mean, 2 or 3 revisions ago new, that everyone hopefully has seen, that is the compliance with the state.
I'll make a motion, we approve the Bristol Water Use Ordinance, poly revisions, subject to the attorney review.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Finally.
Yay.
It only took,
I haven't done the water rates though. You said we had to.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did the rates. That was
that
what
was
you
the
voted
first
on
thing.
just a minute
That was the
ago.
first thing.
No, we
Just
go on.
before that.
Appendix B
No,
and
The appendix B is the rate.
With the
Okay.
rates.
Because that's
We
where we
just
have
did-
all our payment, is in
Right.
in appendix B, so we can update
We
it.
just didn't change the
Yeah.
the outside use,
So
whatever number.
The water use ordinance goes to the lawyer, double checks any revisions, the lawyer will make suggestions, we change them, and then it needs to be warned, similar to,
The town plan and the
thank you,
town zone
yes.
areas.
Whereas the appendices don't have to be. So that's how we can change the water rate or connection standards, things like that.
Right, once we check the other towns.
Yes.
All right.
Sounds good.
Town project status update. Is that you or is that?
That's me, and that's me and Greg. Yeah, Greg will have more information at the next board meeting, to sort of digging into the finances. I wanted to just bring this up, just so we are prepared for that. Okay, so this was shared on Basecamp today, but I'll sort of highlight. There we go. So, in terms of our big capital projects, we have about 5 big ones. We have some scoping studies. We've talked about the Airport Drive scoping study, so that won't be a surprise here. But we'll just sort of go through the big ones that we have. The biggest is number 1, Phase 2 Bristol West. That's our $3.5 million project. So completion date is December 2027, starts next year, ends the following year. Our estimate is $4 million. It's a combination of loans, DWSRF loans, which then turned into a bond. The loans, we are almost at approval for stage 3, or the part 3 of that. The bond bank still needs our audits in order to move forward on that. We've placed very well, similar to what we did in Pine Street, so we hope everything will go well with
Place
that.
4th.
Placed 4th, correct. Which is great, which is very good. I mean, it's the work of Steve,
Yep.
sort of getting us to that point,
Yep.
and his thoroughness. And so we hope everything goes well. We hope that the bond bank
Do you
supports.
know when we know for sure?
They're waiting on us, and we're waiting on the audit.
Probably 2
So-
years after they do the final pay.
So that's a big thing. One thing I looked at and discovered is that our loan for phase 2, the design process, was the 280. That's what we've paid Steve so far. That rolls into our step 3 loan, and unfortunately, we'll get interest added to that. So we're paying another $100,000 on top of that, which is a shame, but it's just part of the process. There doesn't seem to be a way for us, unless we want to pay it off independently, it'll just get rolled into the next one, which is the big one. So just to be aware of that. So it's fully funded, and this is what we've currently spent with Steve's work for this project. And obviously this starts to get really high as we get into next year.
Also, simultaneously as we're going through the bid process, and then we get the audit back, obviously approved of the loan, we're gonna need to do another loan for about 1.5 million, get cash on hand.
Yeah.
I wanna reiterate that. This is
Yeah,
a sticker.
that'll be like a note or a bond.
Bond anticipation note.
Yes, yes, which we didn't take for Pine Street, We just used general fund money.
Well, we had our ARPA money in the general fund at
Correct.
the time.
Yes,
Which we-
but it also wasn't managed as best it could be. But we definitely need the bond anticipation note, and hopefully we'll be successful in that, because as we talked about earlier, there's a huge upfront cost, especially with materials. So high priority, obviously, continuing this one. This is a project we can't stop. It's the most needed of any of our projects, because we put it off for a number of years.
100 years.
100 years.
105 years.
Yes, exactly.
It's not our fault.
So the money we use above and beyond what we got big fat zero from the state to do Pine Street, phase one. We use some general fund money or ARPA fund money, correct?
What we borrowed, we were reimbursed for all of it, with the exception of what?
Minimal,
Some of
small amount of engineering.
the
Very
engineering
tiny.
costs, or
Well,
Jill's
so-
costs, I can't remember what. Yeah.
Was
I
that,
think it was both.
was that put into
The bond.
the new bond? So the water users are gonna pay that?
Correct.
And
That's the
That money
34,000.
so-called will go back, not to an ARPA fund, but we'll have.
It already has.
It has, and it's been spent on other things.
On other things.
Yes.
Town-related things, not water.
Lincoln
Yeah.
Road.
Because, right, Lincoln Road or other things, because that way,
Lincoln Road, Briggs
everybody,
Hill.
right, breaks everything, got,
That-
okay.
That whole area sucked up most of your money.
Yeah. Number 2 is the Holly Hall energy efficiency upgrades. So this will start next year, if all goes well, ends end of next year. Our estimated cost for this is
So
5.7.
does that change? Because originally you said it would be done by my August election.
I'm being conservative in terms of in terms of the money, the funding needs to be spent by the end of the year. Ideally, yes, it will be done by August. I'm not changing the date on that. I'm just putting it where it's like this is where the drop dead deadline. But
Okay.
once we have more secure
You'll
ideas,
drop dead if she has to move the election.
let me just slide over here where she can't see me anymore. Yes. No, it's just a broader kind of
Performance
approach.
period of the.
Yes.
If you wanna sell tickets, you probably make $1 million.
So 571 was our original bid. We received the 325 grant. I'm estimating we use 200,000 of our capital building reserve. That leaves us about 47,000 by the end of next year.
Does that deplete our capital reserve?
Well,
Pretty much.
Well,
47,000.
47,000, that depletes our capital reserve,
Could we-
honestly.
Ian, could there be some things in that polyol energy efficient upgrades that could be not tearing walls out and not insulated, I get that part of it, that could be put off and shave that down $100,000?
You've asked that question before, and our answer was, it's difficult to phase it because we lose the opportunity with the costs involved to be able to get a better price.
Okay, so your recommendation is, says the small funding gap is being reduced so the project's estimated cost could grow. Well, if the project estimated cost could grow, that could totally defund the capital building
Correct.
fund.
Yeah, and does that 47,000 that left take into account the other capital building loans that we're already paying out of it?
Like, sure, like what?
The property we bought for DPW, we pay that
27,000 a year or whatever it is, yeah.
and that's a quarterly payment that I make.
It depends where we decided to take that out of.
I mean, we put that in the budget though, didn't we? That was in the budget,
Yeah,
didn't
we pay it out of the.
I would like to see that
we? Well,
payment
it
when we
should
build
be,
it.
if we put it in the general fund, it shouldn't be in the,
Yeah.
Unless we did a new line item, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't think it shouldn't come out of the capital reserve fund. It's not a capital
That's
reserve
where
fund.
it's been coming out of, because we bought the property for a capital building. So. it
I think-
needs to go
I thought we
somewhere.
budgeted for
we
it this year.
budgeted for that.
Yeah.
So we may have, so I'll look at that,
I
because
thought we were gonna take that out of Eric's, the highway budget.
Yeah, I think we
This is
budgeted
highway
for that. This,
I
the
don't know
first
where
year we
I
had
just
to
know
get
we
it.
budgeted, the
I think
first
the
year.
first year we took it from there and then we budgeted for it, I believe. It would not be the first time I was wrong, Chris. I might have been
I was
mistaken.
pretty sure we
once.
budgeted for that.
Yeah, because we figured by the time it was paid off, that money would just stay in the highway fund.
Right.
But yes, so we have this funding gap at the moment. We hoped we could get a little bit with the grant that's Frida talked about. Obviously, that's not happening now. We're still going to look for grants, but this is happening very quickly. The only thing we can really do is try to either, as Jill suggested, look at phasing if we start to get close to being over that, or if we can reduce costs down in some ways. So that's what we're looking
The
at.
problem is it's bundled also with the library.
Yeah,
So
which hopefully should give us better costs, we hope. So that leads us to the library. Very similar project. It has a much higher grant afforded to it, which is very nice. And so I think that's fully funded and will be fully covered.
Are they actually gonna do the work to get reimbursed for doing up the library, or did they get that money up front and it's sitting in an account somewhere?
Same thing, it's reimbursed, similar to
Okay, so are they actually gonna do the reimbursement work?
the library staff.
Yeah,
No, it's all on us because it's our building.
okay.
Yeah, and we'll have it.
Just what she wanted to do.
It'll well no it'll be
No, you don't know.
Yes.
Sometimes they do stuff and sometimes they
yes
won't.
no because we own the building, we handle all of that. The staff there do not want to handle that, and we'll bundle it with the water stuff we're sending in for reimbursement, the Holly Hall stuff. Like every month, we'll be sending in big reimbursements or requests for all of this.
that's also going on in the background of wastewater project.
Yes.
A lot of money going out in the beginning of next year.
Airport Drive sidewalk project. That started this year with a delivery, a completion date of June of 2027.
It's still 2 years out.
Yes. And so it seems fairly simple, a simple sidewalk, but I guess because this is a federally funded project, that's just the average timeline that you have. It's a 2-year thing. And the state has said it's fine. I've sort of looked at other versions of projects like that, and it looks like it's the same. So I think it is what it is. We have
The problem with all these being extended out that far is the prices can change
Right.
so in 2
Yes.
years.
Yes.
I mean, I would expect concrete's been going crazy. It's up almost $200 a yard now, and 5 years ago it was $100.
Yeah. So given that, and I've talked to a few people about this, Greg and AZ, was this part here. To reduce the cost, consider an asphalt sidewalk instead of concrete for this location. So when we originally scoping studied it, which was about 2 or 3 years ago, all of the designs contained concrete because that's what we use for all of our sidewalks. I walk this pretty much every day, and I walk down the asphalt sidewalk, which isn't in great shape, that the school owns. And I think if we want to make sure that those prices don't eclipse what we have for the grant, that maybe this could be a perfect use of asphalt for the sidewalk that
But
runs
doesn't
there.
that then change the scoping study? And
They're-
then do you have to jump through hoops
No,
to change that?
no, because it's still building a sidewalk. That's really what it is. There's no mention in the grant of what the materials are, and they're just about to start.
So that's
That
probably
kickoff meeting for that.
what CVU did up there, because that sidewalk from CVU to
Ballard's Corner, or
Ballard,
that's
Ballard, yeah.
Yeah.
is all asphalt.
Asphalt. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at
It's
South
as-
Burlington, that's predominantly what they're putting in now.
And it's asphalt all the way up to, headed towards Iroquois.
Like I think, I like concrete in our village area, but I think this is the perfect location to do asphalt. It's gonna sit right next to asphalt, which they've just redone.
So, but is it going to be raised with a curb, or just gonna be a line down there in asphalt? Because
It can be,
that's not safe.
it can be whatever we want it to be. They're going to design it.
Well, I think
Starting
there's,
back right
there's
now.
a green space between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our scoping study design that we're recommending they follow has the green space. It's not curved, it's just green space, sidewalk, and then
And then is
other
it,
green space. But we're just about to do the kickoff meeting to that. Fuss and O'Neill are doing the design, and so
I'd
we
like to see that
would
design.
work, sure, and that'll be brought to the board.
is it gonna go,
We
and
don't-
what I've heard from a lot of staff at Mount Abe is, if it goes through the gate and goes north to that sidewalk, don't bother even putting it in. Because the kids are gonna cut across the gate and head for that school right across the lawn. And
I mean,
It's fourth on the priority list. I mean, if you
Yeah.
don't feel that
yeah,
it's worth our time.
Well, I think it's worth our
We
time,
can scrap it.
but I think that, I said it the very first meeting, that gate is an issue.
The school gate?
The school
Yeah.
gate, when cars are going north and then the cars are coming this way, or bus for sure. You gotta stop and wait, and I'd like to see actually an island in the middle. You go down and it narrows up going through the gate just for single going that way, and the cars come.
But I think that's school
That's school
property.
property.
Yes.
I can't.
Right, no, and I brought that when we had a meeting with all of
Okay.
them.
Yeah.
All right, so that's that. But I mean, the design of it, I mean, our plan is to go the full length. This project costs are split. We're paying 30, the school's paying 30 for the total of 60,000 for the total of 300. But that it is going along. And again, I do think the board should consider asphalt instead of concrete. I think it could be considered, even if the prices don't change and they come in with concrete and it's below 300,000, I think I would still want to do asphalt because it's a perfect opportunity to do it and to save some money. And then our
matches
30,000,
everything else that's there.
yeah, our 30,000 changes to 20,000 maybe. It's less money we have to spend.
Less money for the school also.
Yes, exactly.
And then they
No,
can
we'll
pay
just
for the
make
water
them pay
line.
more and we'll pay less.
And then they can pay for the water line.
Yeah.
We usually change the water on.
That's right.
Mountain Street scoping study, not a problem. Scoping study, we have a full grant for it. Our matches,
We're in the beginning stages of that.
yeah.
And that is the catch basin across from the.
Correct.
school.
Trying to improve the amount of water that's coming off the mountain that affects the school and that road.
I don't think you're gonna cure that, the water coming off the mountain.
No, but I mean, we can capture it better.
Right now, she's not giving us a lot.
No, that's true.
So
we-
1,800 feet is gonna cost 60 grand, huh?
For what?
West Street. Oh,
Scope-
that's just a scoping
That's scoping,
study.
yeah. Yeah, that's hundreds of thousands. Don't worry about that. That's down the line.
You're in the wrong business.
Yeah, so we got a grant for that, our total project cost, we're all good for that. So these are the main ones that obviously have highlighted, projects requiring urgent decisions. Basin Street. So, this has been going on for a long time, and we're now at an estimated project cost of 1.5 million. We have 672, 400,000 secured in grants. And so our town match is 160, but we got a funding gap of 674,000.
Is that all?
Yes. We've spent about 100,000 on it so far. So this is one that I think we need to look at because we're only halfway there, and we're already years in on grants that only have a year left. I raised some concerns, or not concerns, just questions about the $240,000 engineering amount and what the 100,000 is for admin. Like, I'd like to find out what that is, and it could be perfectly fine, but it's also
It's a big number.
researching it and trying to find other projects. It seems like a very high admin amount.
If we move forward, it'd also be occurring at the same time with all those projects.
Right. Yeah, this is a 2027 as well. It was going to be 26, but it got pushed because of the approval. So I think this one is
So-
something.
Phase 3 west is happening at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I'd
yeah.
love to do it, but I don't see borrowing 675,000 from the tax.
Well, now I'm curious, can we, I see you say phase construction, can we do this in phases? Can we do,
Fix the
whatever we have in money?
Right.
Well, the problem I think is that what we've sent in with those grants that have been approved for are based on a scope of work, so we would
Yeah.
have to amend the scope of work.
And
I don't have access to that. I don't know if they give you alternate plans
Yeah.
so we need to rehash that. We have to either put it on pause, push it out. I just don't, from a financial standpoint, don't know how we can do this all at the same time.
It's not an emergency one. It's definitely it's not a want, it's definitely a need. But I would, even though I've put my name and approved this at meetings, I didn't have a full understanding of the project. The fact that it's climbed to 1.5 million, and I have questions about the engineering contract, and given the experience with Briggs, where that was a 2.4 million, and we did a similar project, literally the next road down, and that was 700,000. I see that this could be an opportunity for us to pause this project and reevaluate it and see, because it's a road, and it's drainage, and it's the It's the vegetation and the side there, or the hill.
I think if we do scrap it, we should still purchase the land.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree with that. I guess
Sooner than later,
Yes.
while the iron's still hot.
without looking at the map, and I'm just shooting from the hip here, but just down here on the corner on South Street, where that 3-story apartment house is, I believe that connects to the back of the sewer system. Would it be cheaper to put a road through there instead of $1.5 million?
What's
Buy the apartment house.
You're talking about the blue apartment house before the bridge.
Just, no,
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
just to the
just
left.
before,
Yeah,
you start down the hill here.
Right here at the
Yeah,
bottom of the
right,
hill.
Right on the
yeah,
left.
it's on the left, that's the last
Oh,
one.
drop down behind that's pretty steep, isn't it?
Yeah,
Where the
that's
Bristol
being,
Trail Network is.
Yeah.
No, not going towards the river, going
Oh.
east. Buy that apartment house and go right straight east.
Oh, okay.
And then you kind of wander around the.
You're down the hill on the right?
It is steep,
Down
but
here
it's
on the
not,
left.
it's
Oh, you know,
not, it's not a long section at all.
yeah, we'd have to get these ones and cut
Sure.
through.
I was gonna say,
all
the
those
trail
parts.
network comes through there, though, right?
Yeah.
I
Down
hike it.
farther, yeah.
No,
I mean,
the
there
top
are
part.
numerous properties connected all the way along to
Yeah.
that. I mean,
No, I mean, what
it's,
he's
it's-
saying
it's
is,
like a parcel.
it's a direct shot.
It is, and it's
The
short.
blue apartment building butts up right up to our property where our septic system is.
Yeah.
The only question is, the geography
grade.
of it,
It's a
the
big
topography,
drop off. Yeah.
it's pretty damn steep there.
Right. It's
behind
a
that.
short run, but really steep.
You can't bring up the town.
And then they also
Oh,
have
okay.
lots of signs up about like private property, like I'm not sure, well, I don't know, until you have the conversation, you don't know if people would be willing to give an easement.
Well, again, you'd have to sell that, you'd have to
Okay.
buy the house.
Right.
End of story, there's no other way to do it, there's not enough to do any other option of that.
Well, then that might not be cheaper.
No.
I guess we'll see.
I mean, if we scrap this, we may have to pay back what we've
Yes.
already spent.
so we spent 100,000 and we've only spent into one of the grants. So we would have to, this was at the bottom here, the notes. Based on the grant agreement, if you fail to complete the project, you are obligated to notify the state and may be required to repay project costs. So we could talk to them and say,
This is just out of our reach.
yes.
Right,
So
just-
they may.
And we've tried to look
Yes.
at more grants.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
as
our,
we get more grants, that we get, the way
Yeah.
it seems to me is as we found funding, whatever we find for funding, the price change
Yes.
is more than double the funding we found.
matching the funding, and
Oh,
then we
it's
haven't.
doubling the
yes.
funding we found.
Yeah. So that's where we're at with that. So I think we should, we have a lot invested in it, but also that doesn't change. We have a lot of detail about the project that we can use going forward, but I think this is one that we could potentially pause to be able to save us and revisit it another time. And look at it a different way.
Right.
Peter, I'll ask you the question, because you're the engineer, not the engineer, excavating guy. Buying the land, I think is the correct thing to do for the culvert. Whether we change the hill or not, do we have to do some work around that culvert? And back to Jessica's question earlier, and then we can fix up above it, the sidewalk, so it doesn't wash again.
That culvert's not included in this project though.
But was it?
No,
I thought it was, that's why we were buying the land, I thought.
no, we're buying the land because the toe of the slope goes out on
Okay.
it. It's in that,
What, the culvert under?
Which culvert are you talking
culvert
about?
under the, across from Bristol
Yeah.
yeah.
Financial? I thought we were fixing that. I thought we
Yeah.
were replacing that.
Yeah. I think
Thought this was
wasn't it-
part of the
In this
1.5.
cost?
It is,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it was, they were gonna like
Yeah.
Yeah.
take it down. The
It's
hill,
it's
it was
it's
like
under
some
the
sort of-
road. It's
yeah.
fixing all that to
That's
do
why we
it.
got a structures grant from
Yes.
AOT.
Yeah, it's a lot of work on the road, shoring that up, because that's kind of like bridge-like in some areas. And then it's completely redoing the slope and redesigning it for the water runoff, which is very important.
Well,
But,
we got all our old sidewalk dumped over there that's slowing the water down
Yeah.
now.
yeah, so,
Can I ask a question? If we need to work on that hillside to stop erosion, do we need to own the land to do that? I mean, would the landowner be like, no, don't work on it, we're just gonna let the whole road fall away? I mean.
The landowner could tell us that we can't go on it.
yeah. The landowner, from my discussions with them, are not interested in doing a right-of-way.
Right.
They would like to sell the property to us. And
Well, I totally get that, yeah, it's like, it's not like.
And it could cost us more for a right of way than if we just purchased the land.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did that
It's not
come
really,
with the building?
you know, my own say is,
Just
my
Did
own
under-
say
that
is,
come with his
he
building?
doesn't,
yeah, it
he
was all
doesn't need
part
it,
of
and that
it.
piece of
It's
land
so
should hold the earth together.
Yeah. But yeah, I think purchasing the land, as Speaker suggested and Greg agreed, that's utmost priority, because we need to do something with that. I also think we should revisit dumping snow down there, every
I agree.
winter time.
Yes, because it's
Or at least
rapidly
designing
accelerating.
something. But
Yeah.
it's a big thing to pause this. Contracts will have to be canceled and things like that. But I do think this is one of those projects that it's just, like you said, it's getting so far beyond our reach at the moment, just in terms of cost and complexity. I think it
The
really.
risk of being overstretched does not outweigh the.
I mean, if that wall goes over, it's not the end of the world. It's gonna be
Rebuild it.
expensive, but
Yes,
Build
it's
the
not,
blocks.
no, I would just
Stone it.
rip wrap it, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, right now, the water runs down through there's a poured,
trough.
so we'd have to do something with culvert, but
Yeah.
it's not the end of the
I
world.
don't think unless we had anything really extreme, like I think we have time on this
Yes.
too. This is something we can
That
manage.
wall's been leaning for
Eric
20
and-
years.
Yeah,
20 years ago, I worked down there and said that wall was going over, and it hasn't gone over yet, so.
yeah.
You just changed your story.
Um,
Tip over tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
know,
always a possibility.
Okay. So that's that project, and then the next one, which is our out of the funding, is a skate park project.
I can tell you right now, my opinion of this one is if they don't have the funds,
Yes.
it ain't need done. Cause we
Yes,
told
they
them,
can't.
we couldn't.
So this is a want versus a need.
Right.
It's obviously a lot of work has been done. We've got some terrific designs. We've got lots of community input. It also has a considerable price tag. And so total project cost is $821,000. The $21,800 was what we paid for the design, and it's the estimate that came from that is about $800,000. The reserve fund is about $129,977 estimated. So we're at about $300,000 funding yet. What I said here is the project leader for this is stepping down from their position, and we don't have a champion for the project unless one of us takes it up or the town administrator does.
He's saying no.
But I mean, it's, as I said, it's like, this is something where, we have specified
That they would raise the money.
That's right. But it ultimately falls on us. And so it could be years in the making. And we also then, by the end of December, we're potentially tied to a grant that we've accepted. We have until then to say, we're actually not going to pursue this. It might ding us for receiving the LWCF grant later on, I'm not sure. But I think it's probably better to do it now, if we wanted to, than do it after we receive it and then change our minds.
I don't think that that's happening.
Yeah. So,
Maybe if it was in a year, we were just doing sidewalks,
yeah.
we could make it happen. It would be stretching and then by just basic math, but.
And so I know that Taylor is leaving, but did we check with Meredith, like what is she saying?
I haven't spoken to her on
I
that.
I told her we would give it a considerable look, and we don't wanna, we've invested into this.
Yes.
But she wasn't saying that she'll take over and do fundraising for Taylor.
So, we're so far down that road now, even if she did, it wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
I don't see any fundraising events, I don't,
Yeah.
I haven't
when you're
seen
talking about
anything.
bringing in this type of, you do events, you do big
Yeah.
things. And
Right.
I don't think we're gonna be doing that in November and December,
No.
when it's, right, so,
Yeah.
I mean.
And we'd have another
even if-
year.
I don't wanna step in and be like, hey, this isn't gonna work, but the math ain't mathing, and
Yeah.
our responsibility is to take care of
Right.
what we can.
Yeah. So here you see the overview of everything. Our biggest ones are obviously the Basin Street. I do think that even Holly Hall, if it gets expensive, I think because of the importance of doing these upgrades, both for having the space be usable year-round, as well as emergency
That's
shelter,
also
things
pretty,
like that.
like, 45,000 for what we're gonna get up there, and
Yes.
it's historic value, what it
Yes.
brings is totally worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you take
sets
the
us
bottom
up.
two out of there, and that looks.
Yeah,
fine.
sets us up for decades to come. You know, the water one, even though it's obviously a high ticket item, it's completely born as an enterprise project because it's based on water district.
So basically, like, the strategy is major infrastructure has to, like, we've committed to that, that can't go anywhere,
It's
but
not gonna get any better
also that.
or
But
any cheaper.
our
We're
projects
getting-
moving forward past this period will be informed by that municipal planning. And that gives us a moment, because like the last one was done pre-COVID, and then COVID hit, and then there was an influx of money, and the old strategy was altered, as it should have been. But we are sitting within a long-term strategy plan right now. And that's why everything's kind of all over the place. So
Yeah.
we do what we need to do infrastructure-wise, we get our stuff set, work on the airport west, right? And then we refocus and strategize moving forward the next 5 years, let's say.
So this is sort of like a timeline layout. There's a couple more here that aren't capital projects per se. The townwide police department vote info.
Also that.
We've had a year to do that, and that's coming up in 26 March. That's when we need to have that information out there. And I've also added in the Bristol West Customer Service Line Replacement Project.
Yeah, there's also that.
This is the project that goes hand in hand with our town service line water replacement, where we need to have, encourage customers to update their lines. And this will be in the same timeline. So you can see where everything is overlapping. And there you go. That's where we're at. So we'll need to make a decision about this. And I don't know if people are comfortable making a decision tonight or we discuss it further next meeting.
Let's discuss it further.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And you have this document, you can look through it, you can ask me questions, you can ask Greg questions.
It all gives us some time to think, like,
Yeah.
if there's ways to maybe pause something, or just
Right.
uniquely change things that we're kind of.
Well, we definitely have paused Basin Street a number of times,
Yeah.
and what's gonna end up happening is that we're gonna lose what funding we do have, because it's not gonna happen in a timely manner.
Yes.
And cost is
Yeah.
increasing at a rate
Yeah,
faster than we're finding money.
that was,
Yeah.
that meeting.
And that's why I think
That
it was-
presentation I gave you a while ago was
Yeah.
in line with that, right? And I'm glad Ian, like, presented this today, because it was what I didn't present that day, was the more context of it, but I was just trying to explain, like, that gap is gonna widen
Yeah.
as we keep going down, and there's no coming back once we have it, so.
Before the next meeting that we talk about this, can somebody find out what the penalty will be
Sure.
for not continuing the Basin Street project as far as
Yeah.
potential repayment?
At worst, it would just be paying back 95,000.
Okay.
I mean,
It's
that,
not that
But I
bad.
wanna know the range, like,
Yeah.
is it
Well,
25,000?
I mean, I look at that twofold. We spent 95 to save $1.5 million.
Yeah,
Right.
remember I took the sunk cost out.
Yeah, and you have to pay for information, right? Like
You gotta pay for information.
And it's not like it's
We
like- it's
found
not
out
like
we
it's
can't do
unusable.
this.
Right.
Like, we put the project on the
Education.
shelf.
yes,
Education, pay for that
Pay
education.
for education.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
which
All right.
I'm a big supporter of.
Yes.
And education is expensive.
Yes, it is.
Trust me, I know.
Okay.
And I've never been to an institute of higher learning. All right, are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Discussion on establishing an emergency management reserve fund.
Just quick, we haven't had one. We do have responsibilities to set up emergency management system. Val, before she left, was the director of emergency management for the region. And then when she left, those responsibilities just, are stagnant. But I'm in the process right now of developing an emergency management system that is gonna require us to have, I don't have a number for you yet or anything, but it's essentially just putting it on the table, giving warning that we're gonna need to start thinking about that.
Don't we have somebody who's an EMD, who's?
We do.
Okay.
We have Michael Layden, yeah,
Okay.
And that's what I'm
Okay.
working with,
yeah,
Okay.
but,
yeah. She was the director for the town,
Yeah.
but obviously coordinating with other towns surrounding us. But I think,
yeah, but for Bristol, she was the emergency management director.
That's right.
Right.
And she came to us and said, this is, if
Too much.
you could take one thing off my plate, even though we knew we needed to take 100 things off her plate.
Sure.
She said it this one, and Michael stepped up because of
Right.
his experience. So I think
He's great.
yes, he's
been almost-
fantastic, and we're very lucky to have him. But I think, we don't really have anything that allows us to respond quickly to large-scale emergencies, especially in terms of funding.
We have nothing,
Yeah.
which is just very vulnerable. And then when we start talking about the floodplain stuff that I was mentioning, the changes to all that with the JS updates, like, even Michael will tell you that. We're kind of operating on just finger crossed.
Yeah.
And I personally don't like to operate, I'm hoping that nothing happens.
Well, isn't this, don't we have to, don't the voters have to vote on this?
Yes.
The reserve funds?
Correct. So that's why, like,
So
introducing
you're
it now.
You're asking us to put that on the ballot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask.
With a number.
Yeah. When that time
A,
comes. And I mean,
article.
it could be fine if we need, if Brett, fire chief, if he has to save up, like, as soon as they buy a truck, they start planning for the next. And if that's what we have to do, even if it's just putting a little bit in there at a time, like this
Yeah.
is that much.
Get it started.
And me and Michael can work on finding ways to supplement those gaps until we get there. That's like our job, but we need to have something in case we have some huge winter storm. Holly Hall's supposed to be the operational point. If that's under construction too with other things, like, but how do we react to large scale emergencies? So.
All right.
Sounds good until we have a number.
Select board roundtable. Joel.
Sure, just, I've had people been asking, a few people asked me, when are the tax bills going out?
I'll be printing them next week.
Okay. We're doing
Wednesday.
November 1st or 15th?
November 15th.
15th, I thought it was.
But I'm doing it October 1st, so I can get one more tranche of homestead payments before I put them out, because then it's less tax bills I have to redo.
And then, how about the audits coming, how's that, the auditors?
Hopefully in another 3 to 4 weeks we'll have it.
Okay. And then
The draft.
I stopped, last meeting, we talked about trying to get some kind of number if we're gonna put the thing on the ballot for the police. I stopped, talked with Brandon's police department and asked for a copy of their budget. They do townwide 22 hours or 20 hours a night or day shift, a shift.
Similar.
Similar hours. And they're gonna get that to me, and you think we're bad off. We have an officer leave, they're down to 1.5 officers. They got one officer full-time, one full-time chief, and a part-time position.
Well, we better make sure.
He goes, yeah, the guy goes, I work 12-hour days.
Make sure they don't come and poach our people, I guess.
Yeah.
And they got the sheriff's department's working nights for them down there, Raleigh Sheriff's Department, so.
This is in Brandon.
And Brandon just, they're about the size of Bristol,
Right.
somewhat. So that's all I have.
Okay. Jessica.
So, one email that I got, did you all get this about the Addison County Regional Planning Commission hosting the
Yep.
town select board? Did you guys get that email?
Yes.
Ian did?
Yep.
Okay.
And I put it in the other business too, just that
Okay.
flyer.
It's October 16th, and they're inviting members of Addison County select boards to all come together, and they want to talk mostly about sort of land issues, but we can talk about other things as well. So it might be a good opportunity for us to talk to other select boards, start to open up lines
Oh,
of
we got a road and a
communication.
bridge we could sell.
Or they might, or
Yeah.
maybe we can invest. I mean, when you drive on River Road and you see where the paving and the lines stop and start, you think, oh, this could be coordinated better between New Haven and
Right.
Bristol. So I'm happy to go to that, but I wanted to see if other people wanted to go too.
I'll see you there then.
October
I've already
16th?
reserved
What time?
It was.
Michelle don't get out till 5.
That's after
5:30.
that one.
5:30 at the regional planning offices.
Yeah,
You'll be right in town.
yeah,
Isn't space limited? Isn't that why they wanted your?
yes. but,
Yes.
I mean, I
As
don't know
long
how.
as we've got a couple to
how
go.
much
Yeah.
problem it's
That'll hold 25 people in there, we have our. salt
Yeah,
business.
I registered, so
Okay.
maybe Jessica and I could go. I don't know,
Yeah.
all of us need to go.
Yeah, so it's up to the rest of you. I just wanted to let you know that I was planning on going. The other thing is I received an email from Dennis about the livestock ordinance, if that was going to come back on the agenda.
You sent that to us.
Okay, so I shared that with Greg too. I don't know if you knew the history of that.
Yeah.
So that's that email. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up is just, for some of our committees, they've had the same lineup of like whoever's in charge of the committee for a while now. Do we have any policies where we ask them to like hold a yearly election and shuffle leadership? Like, do we have any
No.
policies about that?
It mainly, either the planning commission or the development review board, they have elected chairs and they go through it. Mostly the committees, everybody else is just up to them who chairs. I know the conservation commission has changed over time, but it's usually just up to
Okay.
those committees.
But maybe for the ones that we serve as liaison for, we could encourage that. It just seems like it would be a good idea
Sure.
to like get new ideas.
Yeah, and
new
they
energy.
probably haven't changed because people aren't offering to do it. They don't
Right,
know
right.
that they can do it,
Right.
and we just
But if we
haven't
put it on
given
the
it.
agenda,
Yes,
right.
exactly.
Well, we can ask, right?
Yeah.
Or they're happy
Okay.
with their chair they got.
Those were the three things I had.
Ian?
We all received the email from the town of Starksboro Select Board regarding the school.
Yes.
And the details about that. I asked a school board member in Bristol about this, and as far as I'm aware, they haven't even started discussions yet, so this is kind of, it seems like this is jumping the gun in terms of what it's asking us. I'm not prepared to take any action at the moment until I find out more information about this. A lot of this is being driven by concern for their school and potential for it changing in the upcoming years. And I think that's from the school board member I spoke to, that's a lot of where the discussion is coming from in terms of Starksboro, which is hence
And that's
this
fair.
message. Of course,
Fair.
yeah, absolutely.
Nobody else is
But I think in terms of us taking action, I think we would all need to do our own research and find out more about that and how it affects us and what they're asking before we would before I could commit to anything like the letter that they sent.
Yeah, because it's not, what's happening there is not happening.
Here.
I mean, it's a larger discussion about the entire organization, about the school district.
Powers of the limits of what they're able to do.
Yes.
without warning.
Yes.
And he probably doesn't know that a couple of years ago, they were on the ballot to pull out of the district like Lincoln did, and it was denied. They didn't.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
But Lincoln is not part of the district anymore.
No.
Right.
We voted, all the surrounding towns, including ours, voted to let Lincoln leave the district. Starksboro didn't get the votes they needed to leave.
Well,
From their own community.
God, that makes sense.
And with the new Act 78 legislation, this committee is going to come up with new school districts. And what that will look like, nobody really
Yeah.
knows yet.
And I think that's part of the
That's why I'm
concern
doing
that they
it.
have, yeah. So just that letter, and then what I'm working on, obviously, was doing the project reports, and I continue to sort of work with the various projects, especially the library and the Holly Hall, going to meetings with that. We have the airport drive, that discussion starting up pretty soon. There'll be a meeting that I'd like to attend. And then I'm also working on the sort of bigger picture, the water line project, the customer service line, trying to figure out a way to approach that, because we need to start working on that and have some decisions being made pretty soon, but also the long-term costs of the water line, how to do that, as I talked about, the calculations of what it's going to cost residents. So that's what I'm working on.
And the logistics piece for it in itself is a
Yes,
bear,
yes,
so.
yeah. Yeah, those are huge projects. I mean, they're very needed, but they're also very complicated. I mean, we're lucky we have Steve and Jill, who have sort of a full understanding from their point of view, but on our side, it's sort of the financial piece. It's like running various scenarios to sort of see how we keep the water district affordable for a lot of people, because it's going to change very quickly in the next few years.
That it is.
Yes, that's all for me. Thank you.
Michelle?
Nothing.
Ryan, good?
Sign it.
Greg?
Give me this one.
Next month, October, there's a budget office.
Yeah.
So this all will kind of coincide inside, but we need to start planning for budgets for that. And we can also start working on police district stuff in October with that budget. I'll start getting an idea of if the town votes to go wide, what the additional cost is, and start figuring that. Outside of that, I don't have anything else you guys have heard at all from me so far, so next meeting I'll have next steps on projects. I have access to our accounts, and nobody now, so.
Oh, good.
Big movement. So, and then Chris and Sharon are working with Darlene, sewing up stuff there, so we're moving in the right direction and getting better awareness of our capabilities and what we can do for it, so we make better decisions and you can be better informed.
Sounds good.
Yep.
We signing this?
Yeah.
Other business for the good of the order?
I just wanted to, Ian, when you said about, when I asked about the 200,000 at the library or here, I didn't mean cutting out the project or cutting out things. It's like, I'm thinking like, if we had to repaint the entire upstairs,
Mhm.
we do that through a separate bid by ourselves. Because the architect gets that bid comes in at $50,000 to paint. The architect adds on 15%, and then Silver Maple adds on 15%. So you add 30,000 to it,
Right.
or 15. That's where I'm saying,
Sure.
could we cut some, not cut it out from Silver Maple's work, out of the scope, but cut it out of the overall. That's
Certainly
all.
possible, but also as primarily the main person managing all these projects, I'm not, West Street at the same time is gonna be water service replacement lines.
Yeah.
Possibly basin, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I mean,
not-
I think we have the ability to look at all that to just see if there is any potential savings.
Yeah, of course, if we can do it, we can. but
Yeah.
Next month?
I don't, it could further
Yeah.
complicate the process
Yeah.
too.
When time
And
changes.
the amount of paperwork.
I do that for
Reimbursement and requisitions is gonna be.
Yeah.
We had to cut out
Thanks.
$1,000 with all the renovation. We did it, but we did it just as,
The library's also fully funded.
right.
Yeah,
With all
library's
the
fine.
projects, so
It's just
I'm
here.
the least concerned about this.
Yeah,
Which, by the
No, I
way, the
think it's
railing
not
came off
supposed
today.
I saw that.
Uh,
Yeah, Katie messaged me and I had her email you.
yeah, and also the right
Yeah.
banister replacement. I don't know what.
I was thinking maybe we
I
could,
don't
we
know.
could,
I actually, I removed the guardrail today,
okay.
because it was, someone's.
I mean,
Does that happen?
at the library, yeah, the middle railing. My thought, my quick thought when Katie sent that to me was this maybe if Aiden was amenable.
That's
but-
what I said.
Yes, because he
helped him
he
do it over there.
yes, so I think it's exactly the same thing, just
There's no
shoring
need
up.
to yell
We're
and
gonna,
stuff
we're gonna
like
need to, no, because he's an employee, he's fully covered insurance, so they did good work over there. I think it would just be getting some pressure treated that he could screw down, mount that back up, and then it's a temporary fix.
Oh,
It has to be all replaced anyway, so it's not like we're destroying anything that needs to be there permanently. So I think that would be the quickest thing, since we don't really have a go-to handy person.
that was the bid for that, to replace that was,
It was 34,000 from the one place we received. I'm working on getting another quote from another builder. I'll hopefully get that in the next few days. And we also could wrap that into the well-funded library project.
If possible.
If possible, yes. So, but I think temporarily, I think if Aiden is available, he's familiar with that kind of stuff, and he's
Yeah.
did it over at Howden.
as a temporary fix.
Yes,
I think the stringers are fine on that steps. I think it's just the fascia boards and the.
yeah, there's a lot going on there.
I like how somebody is just figuring we're gonna vote a certain way. Next regularly scheduled meeting, Monday, October 6th.
I've got to put it on there.
Do we need to vote on this
Mitigation plan?
certificate of adoption of the town of Bristol, Vermont Select Board, a resolution adopting the local mitigation plan for the town of Bristol for 2025? It says here adopted by vote of, in favor and against, so I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
It's not on the agenda.
It's not.
We didn't add it. You guys
Um,
didn't add it at 7. I wasn't here. Can we do it next meeting?
I put it in place. It might not have made it over.
I'll take a look. Yeah,
We could just do it next, that's fine.
let's do it next meeting. Yeah.
Is it, it's already signed it?
I mean, you have it now, we're sort of been done, I mean,
Yeah.
Just need to approve it.
It's essentially the project is wrapping up, but if we want to be official, we could just do it for next agenda. Yeah.
Can we approve it?
We're still in
retroactively?
session.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still in session.
Yeah, but it's not on the agenda, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It was not on the agenda, it was not warned.
Yeah, it's
You're
not on the
supposed
agenda.
to- right, you're supposed to warn it.
Gotcha.
I think it must be in there. I must have missed it.
I
Yeah.
really
Sorry.
You'll have to
got
print
it. It's already
another
signed, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't sign it.
We're just so eager to
No,
sign,
just-
sign
you just
stuff.
need to sign.
Just me and it had to be attested.
Okay.
Alright, so that was other correspondence?
Just the two things that I mentioned. The
Oh, we
well,
could do that in the
Jessica mentioned
correspondence
one.
speaker.
And,
We can
No,
do
it's
that.
not a correspondence.
Yeah.
It's not?
No, I'm not gonna go there. No executive session?
none that I'm aware of.
Well,
Unless
we-
do you have any?
no, I'm-
Okay.
I'm good.
There you go.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Wow.
We're gonna beat you that one.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed, nay.
Yes, Michelle.
Ian, when do we start? 6 o'clock? Meetings?
November first, Peter, you close
Was it
December
November?
first or December first?
I don't know. Are we doing 6
You
o'clock?
We
close
have,
your
we changed it.
You close your
We
pit-
started
November
in
1st and
Burton Day and
December
end in
1st.
April.